Welcome to an all new episode of the No Rules Podcast. I'm Aaron Hilton, as always, joined by my main man, Malik Smith. Malik, what's happening, my man?
Happy New
Been a
Year,
minute.
brother, man.
Happy New Year, 2026. We off to
Crazy.
a rousing start, man.
Has your brain clicked over to 2026? I feel like mentally I'm still in 2025 on
Uh,
the low.
Well, fortunately for me, part of my day job required me to write out the date every time I do like a roster sheet for
Oh,
um for the servers on the floor and stuff like that. So I've gotten used to writing, you know, the date ending with 2-6 instead of 2-5. So I'm getting more and more used to it. It is kind of insane to like think about how quickly years pass. Because I don't think time moves faster when you get older. I think really what it is your perception of time just changes. Because like for a kid, I remember when weekends used to feel like forever, and you just like loved it, and you would just like live for the weekend. And now it's like I feel like the last 4 or 5 years just kinda zoom by, because your perception of
4
time
or
just completely
5.
changes. Yeah,
I
I
mean, 4
mean,
or 5 definitely zoomed, but I would say 10. Yeah, I was saying to somebody the
yeah,
other day, I was like, "Yo, like, I know I'm an old nigga because like, I used to be like, man, what a 2016 was crazy summer, crazy year," and now it's like,
crazy.
that was 10 years
All
ago, bro.
summer 16, shout out to Drake. I mean, it is
Yeah.
yeah, is wild. Like, I was literally I was talking because I was working the Hawks game tonight, so I was talking to, some of the people that I work with. It was like, yo, it kinda makes me sick to my stomach every now and again to think about it because the way that these kids like there was a dance routine, right? Before the game, they do these things called prime times. It's like when they have a spotlight on like local talent and stuff like that. So they had like
Mhm.
a dance squad, and they were all wearing like fanny packs and clearly in like a throwback type of look. But they were dancing to like the Black Eyed Peas and Fergie. You know what I'm saying? Which is like, I mean, it is a throwback, but it was just, I was talking to some of my coworkers who are, you know, most of them close to a decade younger than me, and I'm like, man, it's crazy for me. Makes me sick to my stomach to think like how I used to look at 1975 is how these kids look at like 1998. It's crazy. Like like it's really in real life insane to think about
Yeah.
that.
It's pretty nasty when you think about it.
Guilty
I
work.
try not to think about it, but yeah.
As do
Yeah,
I.
new year, hopefully new blessings rain down upon us, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
that's how I want to
Raiders have
look at it.
already been blessed. Raiders have already been blessed. But let's talk about a different kind of blessing, man. Let's jump right into it. So like I mentioned, I was working the Hawks game, been blessed enough to work for them for like the past 7 years. And today they made a big move. A move that not a lot of people thought would come. I won't say didn't see it coming because it's kind of been like on the periphery over the last like year and a half, I would say. But it finally actually happened. The Hawks have traded Trae Young. According to Shams Karnakia, I'm not sure about the total details, but the main people involved in the trade is Trae Young going to the Washington Wizards in exchange for Corey Kispert um, and CJ McCollum.
CJ. Yeah.
Yeah, so 3J and Corey Kispert coming back to the Hawks in exchange for Ice Trey. Just initial thoughts, Malik. What did you think when the trade finally went down?
Well, I hate to do this, but you got to put some respect on Shams Charania. You know what I'm saying?
I
You just
really
butchered
can't
the
pronounce his
man's name.
name. Skarnakia, Sharana. Yeah, I mean, it's a
Mind you,
lot of
I
consonants.
definitely called that man Shams at least 5 times today.
I
So
mean,
who am I
that's
to
the
speak?
safest way to do it. I was trying to do like the polite thing and say his whole name, and then like midway through, I was like, "Damn, I can't pronounce his last name." It's
ESPN
a lot of
insider,
consonants,
and then
man.
you just don't say his name.
Yeah, ESPN insider
um,
Shams was like, so that's his name.
yeah,
He's like, yeah, it's his nickname. It's easier.
yeah, it's basically.
Yeah,
Um, I, it's funny that you say it was kind of unexpected because it was and it wasn't, right? Like, the rumors have been flying around heavy for the past like week. Um, we had a very spirited conversation about this in the dad chat. Shout out to Sid. Shout out to Reese. Shout out to Nigel. Um, Pour one out for Sid, yo, because I know this one hurts
pulling
for
out.
him. He was
He
really
still
he was
ain't.
holding on.
You realize he's the only one that hasn't replied yet in that chat. You still.
I did notice.
Tell them more.
I have noticed. Um,
Yeah,
because I think he knew what was going down. And I mean,
yeah.
you know, to he made the statement the other day when they said that the Wizards and CJ McCollum were like rumored to be part of a potential deal. Like that's just like you basically flipping him for an expired contract, which you don't see that often. Like you don't see trades where I'm not even gonna count the Luka trade, and I don't even really want to get into it because that could take us down
Yeah.
a whole road. But like, I'm not gonna count that
Mhm,
one. But you don't see trades where somebody's just like, "Huh, so you guys just kind of sold like as low as you possibly could on this guy." But you know, I'm not surprised because if you watch the team this year, and I know you've watched every single home game that they played,
mhm,
um, if you watch any of their games, man, they're better without him on the floor. Now, that doesn't mean that he's not a good player. It doesn't mean that he can't provide some type of value to the Wizards, and I think he will provide some type of value to the Wizards. Mostly just like it's kind of to me, it's like just grass is greener somewhere else, and
mhm.
change of scenery can kind of help you, recalibrate yourself. But I mean, let's be honest, man. The guy doesn't play defense. He hasn't played defense his entire career. And for you to be this far into your career and have had some success, have had, all the things that have happened to him, like, you've been the franchise guy, all of that stuff, and you haven't really improved in that area and you sort of regressed in other areas offensively. I just think I don't know how I don't know how one could be surprised that a team would be like, "Hey, man, like, you're not getting any taller, so, like, unless you
Yeah, I
unless
mean,
you
it's
somehow grew 5 inches, I don't think you're gonna be able to just be out there and not play defense. You can't just stand
well,
around.
I think the problem really becomes is that, I think it was he was more of a star than speak of the devil, here comes Sid with his final first
Coming
reply,
in
but
hot.
he must have heard us talking. He must know that we're recording before we go live here, but, no, it's for me, I've always framed it this way because for the last 3 years, I've been telling the people that I work with the same thing about Trae is that I think he is an extremely talented basketball player, and it's what frustrates me the most about him is that I've never really liked the way that he conducted himself on the court, both as a player and as a leader of the team. I think that it speaks volumes. The coaching carousels that have gone on around him, and whether you deem it to
Keep
be
on it.
fair or unfair, when you are the star of a team, when you are the guy that's on all the posters, that stuff is going to stick to you. That's going to be a part of your legacy, or you're going to have to own the fact that a lot of the times, like that we see Trey, if it's not like some highlight deep three or a pass, a lot of the times, at least on the negative side of it, it's him yelling at an official, complaining about a call or a non-call. It's another coach that he didn't get along with, or another teammate that he kind of, you have to tiptoe around their interpersonal relationship outside of the locker room and things like that. And so, all of those things, you combine them, and it's like it's also at a certain point you kind of run your course with a certain player. And it doesn't mean that that player is a bad player. I still think Trey is a very good player. He's still an all-star level player, and they're not getting anybody in return that is better than him, even the sum of their parts. But like you said, there is something to be said for the fact that this Hawks team, it has been very clear, especially this year, that they seemingly, it's still a relatively small sample size, so I hesitate to be that concrete about it, but um, they do seemingly play better as a unit when he is not out there on the floor. We'll now get a larger sample size of that, and we'll see how Corey Kispert and CJ McCollum fit into this whole jigsaw puzzle. It's not like either one of those guys are setting the world on fire with their defense, but um, we will see how those pieces fit together with this Hawks team, and who's going to take primary ball handling duties. I would probably guess Nikhil Alexander Walker would take over that lead point guard role. But all of that will be answered in the next couple of weeks. I think right now, it's just kind of important to highlight the fact that it's a delicate situation. Trey has meant a lot to this city. I've seen it firsthand. We have seen it in our group chat with Sid, who is the resident Hawks fan, who is also from Atlanta. I know Nigel is a Falcons fan, but his blood burns with the New Jersey. So that's just football for his Atlanta fandom. So for Sid, our local fan, you feel for him. And for the people of the city who didn't want to see Trey go, but I think long term this could work out for both parties. Similarly to how things happened with my team, Philadelphia, a few years ago, or over a decade ago, I would say, when they tried to make Andre Iguodala into the star of the team and make him a 20-point scorer, and that's just not something that he could score 20, he could be a star of a team, but that team wasn't ever going to go anywhere under those circumstances. And so you end up coming off of a player like that, and he finds a home in Golden State, and he wins Finals MVP a few years later. So I don't know if that's going to happen for Trey in Washington. I think we'll probably get into that shortly here, but there is an opportunity that both this Hawks team and Trae Young as an individual can grow from this, and it can become a win-win.
Yeah, I definitely don't wanna overlook the cultural, like, um, off the court impact part of this because, like, somebody who's a fan of a team that has gotten rid of players who, the fans fell in love with and a player who's on the Hawks right now, Kristaps Porzingis, when he got traded, he had only been in the league for like 3, 4 years, and the fans were so attached to him that when he got traded, we were devastated. Like he was the best player we had drafted in years, decades, even. Probably since
Better than
Pat.
Bargnani?
We didn't draft him, thankfully. Don't
True.
don't take me down that don't take me down that road. It's better times right now.
Oh, yeah.
But
Yeah.
like there is something to the fact that like you never want to see a guy that you picked who had success, get traded. When we traded RJ Barrett and Emmanuel Quickly, who were, certainly not at the level of Trae Young or had not reached the level that Trae Young has reached at his peak, right? But were players that the Knicks drafted. RJ was number 3 pick, and both of those guys they were young, so everybody, put all of this hope into them, like, oh, what they could be, right? And I think that's the thing that people still kind of hold on with Trey because he's still relatively young. I mean, he's sort of in the prime of his career, but not, he's
Mhm.
not over the hill, right? So there's still a lot of potential there, unrealized potential, and that's the unfortunate part is that like we saw. I saw it firsthand, man. I mean, they killed us in 2021. Um, and watching them kind of make that run to the conference finals, I was like, I can't believe this guy because he was, this is back when they was giving him you breathe on him and he get a foul call. But he was taking advantage of it and he was putting people on notice and like you couldn't do anything with it. Like he was gonna beat you off the dribble, he was gonna get into the paint, throw up that floater. He was shooting a lot better that season. His shot has kind of fallen off a little bit, probably because he takes them off from 30 feet.
Yeah.
But, like, he just had so much to him, and I think, to be honest, I would have thought coming into this season, after what we saw Tyrese Halliburton do, that Trey would have seen that and said, "Oh, you know what? I can impact the game in so many different ways. I don't need to dominate the ball. I can get off of it and just push it up the floor, and maybe it'll find me, and, the defense will be scrambling, and I can kinda do" like, I thought he would play a different game, like, I really, really expected the Hawks to be, like, a more of a threat. I thought they were gonna really push for a top 3, 4 seed, and it just really didn't happen when he was on the floor, and when you saw how good they were when he was off the floor, it's kinda jarring, like, it was hard not to pay attention to that. Jalen Johnson is
Mhm.
just so good.
Yeah.
Nickeil Alexander-Walker was the best pickup I think of the offseason because he's been unbelievable.
He's been a
Jason
revelation. He
Daniels
averages
is
20 for them.
yeah, yeah, right, that which is crazy, right? Like, I
Yeah.
mean, if you would've told me he was averaging 20, I'd be like, "Eh," for a terrible team, which the Hawks are
I
not
think I
great,
mean,
but
I
they're not
think that
terrible.
the acquisition of Nickeil Alexander-Walker, I think, is what made the Hawks front office probably feel emboldened to make this move because you are replacing Trey scoring with Nickeil Alexander-Walker and the playmaking between Dyson Daniels and
Mhm.
who's probably averaging a career high in assists. I'd have to look that up. And then Jalen Johnson, who's a walking triple double and is averaging over 8.5 assists himself. Um, those guys provide enough playmaking balls getting moved around. The ball has a little bit more energy. It's not stopping with one player. You don't have guys that are, taking ill-advised deep threes and things like that. So it's just the energy, just offensively, the ball movement and things like that, I think will drastically improve. Now, the other end of that is that, when it's time to get a good shot at the end of a possession and you need your star to show up like that 7 seconds and under on the shot clock when the game is tied and there's less than 3 minutes left in the game, who's going to be that guy that
Yeah.
you're not catching the ball at the end of a rotation with swing 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 passes, like the ball's in your hands, the shot clock is under 10 seconds and we're all looking at you. The 9 other people on the floor are looking at you, and you have to go get a shot and a good shot, and you have to make that shot. Trae was unafraid to be that guy. And that is going to be the testament to these young Hawks and these new players that are still learning their way here on this team. They're gonna have to figure out who that guy is because Jalen might be the leader of this team, and I think rightfully so. He should be the leader in the face of this team going forward, but I don't know that he's that guy. I don't know that Nikhil Alexander Walker is that guy. I don't know who that guy is. Is it gonna be one of the new guys? Is it gonna be CJ? Is it gonna be Kispert? You just don't know who that's gonna be. So, that's why I'm hesitant. I know we like to rib Sid, and especially myself. We got into a really long back and forth on there. We kind of carried the chat for like a 15, 20-minute span going back and forth about the Trae Young potentiation when it was still potential. And I kind of like to poke and prod, but the reality of it is that the appreciation that I have for some of the things that he can do, is why it kind of really got underneath my skin with some of the things that he seemingly refused to do while he was here. And I hope that he has an opportunity to look at this trade the right way, and be offended by it, be a little bit hurt by it, use that as fuel. And they traded you within the Eastern Conference, so like that's a risk that the Hawks are taking. Not that the Wizards have really been a threat to anything in the Eastern Conference playoff wise, but that's a team that you're going to have to see more than twice in a year because they're in the same conference as you. So it will be interesting to see how that all turns out. The Hawks do play the Wizards at home twice at the end of February, back-to-back games. So we will see um,
Mm.
what that is like, and I'm sure a player like Trae Young is going to want to put his best foot forward. There's going to be a lot of fireworks probably in that game, but it will. This is going to make my job a lot more interesting going forward because now I really don't know what to expect. It's one thing when he's not playing, but he's over there in street clothes. But now you don't have any. They're they've ripped the parachute off. You know what I mean? There's no fallback. We're like, hey, we believe in the direction of some of you other players. Now let's see because the pressure is on.
Yeah, I think to me, I think what's also pretty interesting with this situation, not to get too nerdy and deep into like trades and salary caps and all of that stuff, but one, the Hawks have the Pelicans pick, the team that they just
Hmm.
beat tonight, who has
Yeah.
8 wins. And I want to say they're probably top three right now, in terms of or bottom three. So they got a pretty good chance to have the number one pick or at least a top four pick. You know, your boy Cameron Boozer, um, Darren Peterson, AJ DeBonsa. Like, there's a lot of
Hmm.
good, definitely three really good players out there that could end up on the Hawks. And to answer the question of like who ends up being, the go to guy, it could be one of those young guys, right? Because now they've changed the timeline, right? They're now on Jalen Johnson's timeline. Keel Alexander Walker is still, I want to say, probably 26, 27, so he's still pretty
Yeah, I
young.
think he's in the late 20s. Yep.
Yeah, so, uh, uh, Dyson Daniels is still young. Kongu is still very young.
Hmm.
Porzingis has a one-year deal. McCollum has a one-year deal, so that's $60 million that's coming off the books. Like, they could move well, they can't move McCollum. I don't think they could trade him again, but they could definitely trade, Porzingis. Or they could just say, "You know what? Whatever. We'll just go into next year and have $60 million less on our books and maybe the number two or number one or number three draft pick, and just go from there, right? And like just start building organically, which not definitely not the worst place to be. I mean, they already have a number one pick. I mean, he's fine. Zachary Shea, but yeah, like I think that sort of they are basically like looking at where the NBA is right now and saying, where are we going with the team that we had, right? Like, where are we going with Trae? Like, how are we actually going to get better? We would have to add more players who can make up for the things that he can't do. And why do that when we got our pick plus a possible top 3 pick, top 4 pick coming? Like, why don't we just we're not even really restarting because we have some really good players here already. We're adding a possible top 4 pick. We got, you know, money coming off the books. We can sign free agents. We can do whatever we want. Like, they're actually in a great position. This made the most possible sense. The fact that they didn't really get anything back doesn't matter because they're so fully loaded already with potential and possibilities that they could reload and next year actually be a real threat with a young up and coming player. On the flip side, you look at, Washington, they got a lot of stuff. So
Mhm.
for Trey, I think this is a ideal situation because let's be honest, like I think I don't want to say he doesn't care about winning, but I do think he cares more about him getting his. And if that leads
Right.
to wins, I think he's happy. I think if, it doesn't lead to wins, he's going to come back the next day and he's going to do whatever he does again. Say similar to Harden, like post Houston. Like I
Mhm.
feel like Harden in Houston was, he was a killer. And then kind of, toward the end, it was just like, all right, well, I'm gonna still play basketball and, and like whatever happens, happens.
I think
Um,
I mean, to interject there, I personally, I think that it does matter what you get in return because what you're getting is, Kispert, nice rotation shooter, but he's basically Luke Kennard. He's a Luke Kennard redux. If Luke Kennard does what he's supposed to do, which he hasn't so far, uh, but he had a much better game today, and maybe that'll be a sign of something good going forward. But if Luke Kennard does what he's doing, then getting a guy like Corey Kispert's more of a redundancy and a luxury than an actual useful rotation player because he's something that they already really had, not something that they necessarily needed. So you're getting rid of a lead guard, a point guard, a playmaker like Trae Young. And instead of getting better at that position, you're now asking a guy who hasn't really played that position to step into that role because none of the guys that they're, got back in this trade, including CJ McCollum, who is now the oldest player in their rotation at 34 years old. Um, they don't have a guy that's just going to step into that role with any amount of like valuable experience. And even for a guy as, seasoned as CJ McCollum is, um, it's not like you just come into the locker room and immediately have that kind of cachet. You know what I mean? For somebody that's that old, it's still something that he would have to earn. He doesn't have any rings or anything like that. So you're bringing guys in, and most of the players on this team are at best combo guards. So it's still very important for the people understanding and then the casual fan, the Hawks fans, all those people to understand that like yes, I do think that they could have gotten better guard play out of Trae Young, but to the other end, it's the front office. Like I hope that they must have some kind of belief in some of the players that they have either on their team or the players that they're bringing in that filling that role of lead guard, of point guard, um, captain of the offense type of situation that we can get what we need in a kind of a paint by numbers type of situation with Jalen Johnson leading the way offensively, just a rotating cavalcade of 6'5" guys to guard the opposing team's best ball handler. But I'm looking down the Wizards roster of players that they could have got back. I mean, Bub Carrington is a guy that they could have gotten back. Bilal Coulibaly. I don't know if people have kind of punted on him after a couple of years of not really figuring it out, but he's only 21 years old. He's a 6'7" point guard who plays for the French national team. Trey Johnson, who was the lottery pick that Washington took this year, only 19 years old. He's a guy that kind of fits more of that combo guard role, but he's probably closer to a point guard than CJ McCollum is. So you look at what they got back and you're like, okay, um, I feel like they probably could have gone in a different direction. You know, if Washington are they hanging up the phone on Bub Carrington and when you asked for him back, I don't know what that is. So it's important that you get some good things back because Washington did get a good player. And so, yeah, you have that pick from New Orleans, and that's awesome. You don't know how the lottery is going to turn out. More than likely, it'll be a top 6 or 7 pick, which is really good. And they have some really good point guards in this draft. You have Fears, you have LeBaron Philon, you have um,
Now Fears is
Darius
on
Acuff.
Fears is
No,
on
no,
on
no, not Jeremiah Fears. There's
my
another
fault.
Fears from Michigan State. Yeah, Michigan State has another. I don't know if they're related, but yeah, another point guard from Michigan State, Fears. Um, and then LeBaron Philon from Alabama. You have Acuff from Arkansas. So there are a couple of point guards. Braden Smith for Purdue, if you're looking at a later pick for floor general type players. But like there are point guards in this draft that will be available in that lottery area. Some even available in the late lottery or the 20s area that could step right in and lead your team. So there is potential there, but it does matter when you trade somebody that's as good as Trae Young is, and as young as he is, that you get something in return. So you don't want to get like a net zero out of these two players. So I do think it's important that Kispert and CJ, and then if there are going to be picks added to this, I don't think there are. I think that would have came out already. So
I think
I
it's
think
straight
this
up,
is the
yeah.
return. It
Because
is
why would
important that
if I'm Washington, why am I giving up picks when your guy wants to come to my team? Like
right, and
I have all the
that's
leverage.
probably what nuked a lot of it is the fact
Yeah,
that you're getting a one-dimensional player and one that wanted to go to a team like Washington, probably primarily for the fact that they don't have an established point guard there. They haven't had an established star there since John Wall left, and they have a lot of money to give him in the offseason. When Trey's contract comes up and it's time to sign that max deal, Washington is one of the few teams left in the NBA that starved for a star, and has pockets that deep to be able to pay to keep Trey in Chocolate City. So
that
um,
was gonna be my
I
next
think
question for you. Do you think he
yeah,
do you think he extends in Washington? Do you think
yeah.
that's where he's gonna be for the next what, 4
I
years?
100%. I don't think that there's any question.
100%. Wow, that's crazy.
100%. I mean, anything can happen in today's sports landscape. I don't want to say it like I would be just like jaw to the floor if you went somewhere else. But like if you had a gun to my head and be like, yo, what is Trey gonna do? I would pretty confidently say, yeah, he's gonna resign. Now the smart man would wait until the offseason to resign unless he's just that confident. And he's like, hey, once I get here and I settle in, let's go ahead and sign this extension now and get that money on the books. Like whatever. We'll see what matters most to Trey now because if he just wants the money, he can get it whenever he wants to get it. But I there's no doubt in my mind that that's the reason why he said his preferred destination is Washington because it's not like he's going to put a lot of better tape than he would have put on if he would have just stayed in Atlanta for the rest of the year or at least until the trade deadline. So you don't want to go
Well,
to
I don't think
Washington
they would
because
have played him
you
again.
want to
I
win.
don't think Quinn Snyder
Well, I
would have
mean,
played him again. Yeah.
nah, but I mean, like if you would have kept your mouth shut about like the trade and all that other kind of stuff, and you just wanted to put good tape together for the next team that's looking to sign you to a big deal. He could have done the same thing in Atlanta that he's going to end up doing in Washington. So I don't think you're going there to be like, well, I have a better chance to win. No, you don't. You don't have a better chance to win in Washington than you do in Atlanta. Um, what you do have a chance to do is start off with a clean slate with a fan base that hasn't had a star since the last lead guard came through there in John Wall. So this is an opportunity for him to ingratiate himself to a new fan base, stay in the Eastern Conference, and really, take the bull by the horn. So I'm looking forward to seeing what this means for him. Going forward, I'm looking forward to what it means for the Hawks. I want to see if they continue to play this brand of basketball, if they continue to do well, and then to see how these two new pieces coming in will fit in with the rest of this Hawks rotation. But I tell you what, Jalen Johnson dynasty owners are doing a collective cheer right now for all the
Numbers
NBA
going up.
fantasy people out there in the world because he is. I think his ceiling is limitless, limitless for the type of player that he is. They struck gold with Jalen for sure here in Atlanta.
I don't even know if it's a hot take, but I'm gonna say it.
Mhm.
I don't think the Wizards will make the playoffs however long
It's
his
not a hot
contract
take.
is. I don't
Oh,
think the
for the
Wizards. No,
whole
no, no.
okay.
For the length of his contract with the Wizards, I don't think that they will make the playoffs.
That is a very
I
that's
just
I
don't
mean,
think
that's
they
a hot
will.
take. Because if he extends for like a 5-year deal, you're saying for the next 5 to 7 years that the Wizards won't make the playoffs. That's a big
Yeah,
thing. Yeah. I like it.
I
Stand on that.
I don't see it.
Stand on that.
I don't see it. I don't see how like you're basically his window for being the best that he could be is the next 3 years, right?
Mhm.
Give or take. And then after that, it's probably going to fall off.
But
Um,
that's assuming that nobody else gets better because I'll tell you what, um, Alexander
no,
Sarr becomes
that's
a little bit better with Trae on the
yeah.
team as a lob threat now, on the pick and roll. Um, Trey
Well,
Johnson's gonna
let
get a
me
few more open shots. So, I mean, there's gonna
yeah.
be some
They
opportunities there for some of these players to improve
they will score a lot of points, but I don't think that
100%.
this team defensively is going to be good
Mhm.
enough to like compete.
I agree. I agree. I
I
wouldn't go
just
as far as say, like, not making the playoffs during the that I don't know because I don't know what else is gonna happen for Washington. I don't think they'll make the playoffs this year. I think I feel pretty solid in that, and if they do own their pick, I'm not sure about their draft capital situation, but if they don't own their pick to, like, OKC, who seemingly owns all the first-round picks in the NBA, um, then I think they have a really good chance. This draft is gonna be deep. It's gonna be deeper than even people think, and I think people are starting to believe that this draft coming up is going to be pretty deep. I don't know if there's any super duper stars. Like I really like Cam Boozer, and I think he's worthy of Player of the Year contention and potentially number one overall pick contention. But even as a Duke fan, I don't know if he's a super duper star. I don't know if he's that much better than his dad. Um, he's good,
Pops was
but I
pretty
don't.
good though.
It's not like it's not like he's gonna like 2003 was ridiculous. LeBron James, Carmelo
Yeah,
Anthony, Chris, but like that,
yeah, yeah.
that
That's
is ridiculous. Okay, that I don't know if we'll ever
96.
see again. 96 again. It seemingly happens every once, 10 plus years. I don't know if we had another one since that 2003 where you have, out of the first 5 picks, 4 of them are Hall of Famers, but it will be interesting to see going forward what the direction of this Wizards team is and what their plans are for this team. But I'm not really ready to commit to just they'll not make the playoffs. But I like the courage of your convictions there, and I'm definitely not saying it's a crazy pick. I mean, it's a crazy take because I could see it happening that they don't make the play in. Sure, they might make a play in game, but
Yeah, yeah.
you know, if
They'll
you
be
don't win it,
there,
you're not in the
but
playoffs. Play in is not playoffs, so I like that.
I don't see how they build a team that's better than what he currently has
Mhm.
while he's
Well, I
still
think,
really good.
yeah, I mean, it's just different. The benefits of this team are just different. The construction is different, so we'll see how it is. But Washington doesn't have a guy that's like Jalen Johnson. Alexander
Exactly.
Sarr is more of like he's like a
I love
bigger
Saw, by the
version
way.
of Onyeka Okongwu. I do. I mean, he's really,
Yeah,
really
I
good.
love
He's a
Saw.
good player. He can protect the rim and block shots. He's a decent enough defense, 3-and-D big man. And then you have another guy who is like a Vinny Microwave Johnson type, and Trey Johnson. He's more of like a Jamal Crawford type, at 6'5", but slender, but he can get you a bucket from anywhere. He's not afraid to pull from 30. So like that, they
Keyshawn
have
George too.
some
I like Keyshawn George.
Keyshawn George, very good forward. They have some good pieces on this team. They have more that they need to build. Um, but they do have some decent pieces on this team. It'll be interesting to see what they continue to do to create this infrastructure around Trey. But I mean, they definitely have more moves to make before I'm willing to say that they're gonna make the playoffs, let alone make a playoff run. Um,
Stamp it.
quick pivot onto our next topic here. One that's more near and dear to both of us. Why don't the Giants want the number one pick, man? Like, not just in this draft, because I get it for this draft, like whatever. But like the last 2 years, you had an opportunity in like the final couple weeks of the season, and y'all were just like, nah, I'm good. I'm
You know
cool.
how
We're gonna punt on that.
you know you know how Chris Berman, when he would do like the Sunday highlights, anytime he do a Bills highlight, he'd be like, nobody circles the wagon like the Buffalo
Like the
Bills.
Buffalo Bills, yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So for me, it would be nobody avoids the number one pick like the New York Giants because because it's pretty ridiculous. It's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah.
I look, I'll say this though. I'm gonna get into my because if I think about it too much, I'm gonna get pissed off. So I got to
Yeah,
get
it's
into
okay,
my
man. Yeah.
conspiracy theory bag. I gotta get into my conspiracy theory bag. We're playing four-dimensional chess with y'all niggas. Y'all don't even really understand how the game works. It's crazy because y'all think, follow me here, y'all think having a number one pick in this draft is what's up. Y'all think that that's a good thing? Okay, cool. You can have the Heisman Trophy winner. You can have young boy from Oregon. You know what I'm saying, we trying to get that offensive lineman. You know what I mean? That y'all not thinking about. Some boy from Alabama, some country fed boy from Nebraska somewhere. You know what I'm saying? So y'all really not thinking about it. Clearly, when you drop back, you have less pressure on you, right? And then the lack of pressure allows you to see clearly, like, yo, boom,
You look like that
this is really
Draymond. You
what
know
we
the
need.
Draymond meme where he's talking to like Steve Kerr and he got his hands up here and he's like, and you don't know what he's saying, but you can
Yeah,
tell like he feels it, whatever he said. That's what
yeah,
it feels like you going through right now.
yeah.
And I
Little bit,
understand how
little
you
bit.
feel about it. Honestly, I'm not like through the moon that the Raiders like that this is the year that the Raiders get the number one overall pick. There's no like clear cut number one guy. It's not like it doesn't feel like we won the sweepstakes, but I am excited that my team has the number one pick just because of the possibilities. There's no longer anybody in you don't have any excuse not to get the guy that you want, not to do exactly what you want, that you control your destiny when you have the number one
You're on the
overall
clock
pick. Do you
right
want to
now.
trade it and get value because you need more players than you need one of these mediocre-ish quarterbacks, or at least seemingly, I'll say, to be fair to them, these seemingly mediocre quarterbacks who, none of whom would be the number one overall pick if a guy like Arch Manning or even Byron Brown were included in this year's draft. So, you know, I mean, it should speak a lot to the dearth, I guess, of QB talent in this draft that Ty Simpson felt the need to enter his name into the draft this year. Because under
Can
any
I
other
say one thing though?
circumstances, yeah.
I want to say something about quarterbacks specifically. I feel like we have this expectation. I was listening to something. I meant to send it to you that Tom Brady was saying about um the transfer portal and like how it sort of is hindering players and they don't realize it. And I think that like all of these things are sort of connected with the transferring and just like there just isn't enough development. So I think a lot of times we see these guys come into the NFL, even when they're highly touted, right? We saw this with Caleb Williams his first year. Like you
Mhm.
look at his numbers and you be like, oh, he had a good year. But if you actually watched, like it wasn't great. And it took him a year to actually like get acclimated. And I think the idea that like, oh, well, this guy isn't that great, or you know, this quarter, like so much about I think drafting, what regardless of the sport, so much about drafting, but definitely in the NFL when it comes to quarterbacks is about fit. So it isn't like this guy can't be good because whatever. I actually like Mendoza. I think he's really good. I think he's got balls.
Mhm.
I think he's I don't know that he's going to be the greatest quarterback of all time, but that doesn't mean he can't be a great quarterback. And I look at somebody like Brock Purdy, who was the last pick in the draft, and like low key, sometimes I watch it and I'm like, is this guy just like the fucking best? Because his ability to just do everything, the passes that he makes on the move. I mean, he can run with it. He's
Mhm.
just he has a feel for the game that I think like you sometimes you just can't measure that just in the combine. And I think sometimes I don't understand how that can get overlooked so many times in the draft when we have guys who's like, oh, this guy's gonna be great. Remember Josh Rosen? Do you remember Josh
Yeah, I
Rosen?
mean,
He got an
I
ESPN
believe
the
that Josh Rosen was
magazine.
gonna be the best player.
Yeah, he got an ESPN the
Yeah.
magazine front cover, and everyone's like,
Mhm.
this guy's gonna be great. Where I think he played maybe 2 years, and after that, he was so bad, they were just like, "Yo, bro, we good. We're
Yeah,
good."
they didn't wanna deal with it, but I think so here's the thing, and you brought up a sore spot because Tom Brady is a part owner of my team, and it just
He
drives me
is.
fucking nuts, but,
He kinda
listen,
knows football, though, so
I mean, that's great. How much did he know football when he hired fucking Pete Carroll to be the head coach of this team, and within a year, we have
we'll
the
get to
number
that.
1 pick, and Pete Carroll got fired, so, like, I don't wanna hear Tom Brady knows football, I don't care. Listen, great quarterback, best quarterback of all time doesn't make you a steward of an NFL franchise, as we've clearly seen. The Patriot way works in New England. in like the early 2000s to mid 2000s and early
It worked in
2010s, but
Tampa.
it doesn't. Okay, that's great. I mean, whatever. But regardless of
You
all of
really
this
hate Tom
shit,
Brady.
it's just like no, it's not specifically Tom Brady. It's just that like my franchise continues to like live in the past in the worst possible way. And that they keep trying to be like well, this is what the Patriots did, so it must still work. And it's like, well, you see that that hasn't worked in a long time. So like just bringing Tom Brady in doesn't automatically make you a Super Bowl contender. And just listening to a Hall of Fame quarterback who's the best of all time doesn't necessarily make you a winning franchise. Sam Presti never played a lick of NBA basketball, and he's the best GM, maybe even the best GM in history when it's all said and done, depending on what the rest of his career was like. Steve Kerr was a role player, great GM, better coach, but it's not like he was a Hall of Famer as a player. So like you just don't know. Michael Jordan, horrible GM, best player of all time. So like it does not make you a great evaluator of talent or a great steward of a franchise just because you were a great player. And I don't know what it's going to take for my moribund franchise to realize that, but clearly it's going to take more than paying 5 different coaches, none of whom are coaching your team, a combined 50 million motherfucking dollars, not including whoever it is they hire during this cycle, to coach your team. Like at some point in time, they're gonna have to stick with a person, um, and see them through more than just one bad season. But again, not to belabor the point, my main point is that transferring doesn't make you a bad quarterback. Moving around and finding a fit doesn't make you a bad quarterback. Cam Newton, first overall pick, he transferred twice. Once from
That was
Florida to Brilliant
different.
College. I mean, out of
He wasn't getting
necessity,
any playing
whatever.
time. That's why he transferred.
I mean, I also understand that, but it's again these transfer situations. Like we can't move the goalposts. If you're saying that these guys transferring or whatever makes you bad, like no, there's something deeper than what it is. Now you can be a guy that transfers to get a better opportunity, or you can be a guy that transfers because you want money. There's a difference between why a guy like maybe John Mateer transfers from Washington to Oklahoma
Mm-hmm.
versus why a guy like, say, Diego Pavia transfers from New Mexico State to Vanderbilt for an
Mm-hmm.
opportunity
Mm-hmm.
to play at a bigger stage, for an opportunity to show people that you can do this not just at a group of 5 situation, but you can do this in the SEC. You can beat Alabama on the road. You know what I mean? So like that is the type of thing that people really need to look into. If you look into a guy like Brock Purdy, he's a tough kid. He's a transfer guy because I believe he started at Alabama and then transferred to Iowa State. So like these are all guys that have moved on to find a better chance. Bo Nix transferred from Auburn to Oregon because
Mm-hmm.
he felt like he needed to get a better opportunity to run a pro style offense, to show people that he was more than just a run first guy that he was at Auburn. And he did some good things in Oregon and ended up getting drafted to Sean Payton, and now
Yeah.
he's the number 1 seed in the NFL this season for the AFC team. So like again, being a transfer quarterback doesn't necessarily mean that you're a quitter. It doesn't mean that you're unable to develop. Development is just about that. It is about developing. So if you're transferring because you need to develop and to make your situation better so that you can raise your profile, so that you become a better football player, because ultimately the goal of all high level football is to make it to the pros. That is the goal. The reason why people are in school trying to get A's is not because they want to be the fucking valedictorian, or at least it shouldn't be. It should be because I feel like if I am the best at what I do, then they will pay me to be the best at what I do, whether it's pro sports or in real life. And that should be the case. And unfortunately, what has happened is it's this wild west that football has become, at least at the college level, with the NIL deals and now the new ruling that schools can directly pay their players. It has become just a whose pockets are bigger type of situation, and I'm going to transfer to get the biggest bag, or I'm going to put myself in the transfer portal to kind of put my team to the screws and see if they're willing to turn my $1 million NIL deal into a $2 or $3 million NIL deal. And I just don't know that that's the right thing. But that's what people have to sift through. Is those things, because by the way, the 2 guys that are potential to be the number 1 overall pick in this draft are both transfer guys. So we'll
Well,
see
everybody transfers
what that
at
means
this
for them.
point. So
Yeah, I mean that just is what it
and to
is.
your you brought up a lot of. I, I should clarify the statement. I don't think what he
Mhm.
was saying was transferring by itself is bad. What he was saying is for him, when he went to college at Michigan, the ability to compete and to get the starting job is what made him a competitor when it came to him being the sixth round pick in New England who had to, take over the job from Drew Bledsoe. And he was saying, he said at the time that he played, he wasn't necessarily saying that he wouldn't also be a player who potentially transferred at some other point or that transferring by itself is inherently bad. I think that the point that he was making is that, like you said, it's become a Wild West. So guys want to raise their profile. Um, One of the players who's going to be playing in the college football playoff, um, Carson Beck, right? Like he transferred from
Mhm.
Georgia
Georgia.
to Miami because he didn't have a good enough year, and like he felt like he just wanted a better
He ruined
opportunity.
his draft stock his last year in Georgia. He was gonna be the number 1 overall pick last year,
He sure did.
ruined his draft stock, went to the draft evaluators, they didn't give him a day 1 grade, and so he took the $4 million to go to, Miami and,
Right. I think. I
re
think.
boost that draft stock.
Yeah. But I think to Brady's point, and part of the reason why I feel like people should probably not just assume that the quarterbacks in 2027, 27, yeah, the quarterbacks in 2027 are going to be better than the quarterbacks in 2026 is that you can't just say like, oh, well this guy has more potential because he was good this year and he's just going to exponentially get better next year. Like it doesn't always necessarily work that way. Sometimes guys are as good as they showed, what 1 year, and like that's all you're going to get, and that's what you're building off of, and you can fine tune some things, you can do this or that. I think you should, like I said, I think the fit thing is more important. I also like how you tried to blame your entire franchise sucking and quitting on coaches and everything else on Tom Brady on the low. Like
No, no,
your
no, no,
boy,
no,
like
no, no.
the Davis family
That is
hasn't been
not
doing that for like
no,
50
and
years.
honestly, and it really is, and it's no shade to Brady in that. I don't like, and it was really more of a dig to Mark Davis and those groups because I'm still butthurt about them getting rid of Jack Del Rio. Like, I just
Yeah,
I wish there was a better explanation of why it happened. That over a decade ago that this happened, but like, I watched the best Raiders team that I have seen since the early 2000s. Um, Go to the playoffs the week before, the wild card round of the playoffs. Our quarterback, who shouldn't have still been in that Colts game, takes a sack. The first sack Donald Penn gave up all year, and he Derek Carr broke his leg, his first major injury, like in his career of high level football. He didn't ever hurt himself at Fresno State, and he hadn't hurt himself to that point in the NFL until that day, breaks his leg, and Derek Carr became a different player for the rest of his career, and was never really the same again. The Raiders had one bad year after that, and then after that, Mark Davis saw that as an opening to bring his boy Gruden back in to the fold, a guy that Raiders fans had bemoaned losing via trade back before I even knew you could trade head coaches. You know what I mean? To Tampa, and they're just constantly living in the past and living in the past instead of like giving a team an opportunity. And like it seems like Mark Davis is just like a nepo baby who just doesn't like losing. He wants to unplug the game and reset it every time he loses, and like that's not how it works. You didn't give a guy like Antonio Pierce a real opportunity to be a head coach of a
hmm
team. You just was like, well, the last time the players were screaming for the interim guy to get the head coaching job, we didn't do it. We hired Josh McDaniels and he fucking sucked. So we're going to give you what you want. We're going to give you your interim guy, but we're not going to bring in a reasonable enough quarterback. We're not going to re-sign the running back that led the league in rushing over the last 3 years or whatever the case may be for Josh Jacobs. Um, we're not going to draft well, and we're not going to put him in a position where he can really show us what he can do. So unfortunately, a guy like Antonio Pierce looks terrible because you don't give him a real fair shake to be a head coach. And it happens to a lot of guys that look like us, but this just so happened to be under my franchise. No, it's not necessarily Tom Brady's fault. I think it's a much deeper rotten issue within the organization that I like to call my favorite team. But I don't think that just blindly listening to a guy that made the Hall of Fame as a player means that you're going to all of a sudden be a franchise that's on the brink of a Super Bowl or on the brink of getting back to relevancy. I think there's a lot more things rotten at the core of the Raiders franchise. And whoever this number one overall pick is, if we keep that pick, um, I'm gonna pray for that young man because he's going to need it. There's gonna be a lot of
Yeah.
people that like throw a lot of chips in the middle of the table and say you keep it and say you take Mendoza, the Heisman winner. You know, I don't want them thinking like, oh, well, we drafted him 1-1, so he has to be the savior. Like that's not the case. You're the team that drafted him 1-1. So you would hope that he is, but he should be a piece of what is going to make this team better. Right now, we had a generational talent that we drafted at 6 for running back, and he had to have 90% of his total yards from scrimmage came after a contact, which is ridiculous. He had over 1,300 yards from scrimmage, and over 1,000 of those yards came after first contact. If that, to just put that into perspective for people coming in, is that that's not supposed to happen. You're supposed to every now and again be able to make it to the line of scrimmage without getting punched in the face by a defensive lineman or a linebacker. So, um, there's just a lot going on with this team, and the number one pick in and of itself is not going to save this franchise. It's not going to save this team. Um, but I'm
True.
glad to have it. I'm glad that we're in a better position with that pick. And I say we as a Raiders fan, whatever, but like the Raiders are in a better position with the number one overall pick than they would be with a later pick. Now you control your destiny. And now we can really see what you want to do with it. For the first time since drafting Jamarcus Russell over Calvin Johnson, a decision I will never forgive.
Sorry.
Yeah, me too. Me too. We get to see what John Spytek and those boys are really all about. So we'll see. I don't have very high hopes for them, but
Yeah, you
I
sound
am
pretty
excited.
enthusiastic right now.
Yeah, I've never been like they've given me no reason to be enthusiastic over 2.5 decades. So like
Yeah, fair.
my Raiders fan friends and other of my friends who like all they do is hear about me complain. I complained when we got Pete Carroll, and every one of y'all wanted to say be more positive and he's gonna turn shit around. About where are you now? I fucking told you.
Okay, so
I
can we
told you it
can
was
we
gonna
get into the
happen.
coach thing?
We can't get into the coach thing. The coaching carousel. We've talked, I think, enough about the Raiders. Pete Carroll deserved to go, and the things that have come out about him,
You really feel
we'll
that
have
way?
to save for another part. What? About what?
You really feel like he deserved to go?
Yeah, he sucked. He was never going to be a good coach for this team. He was never going to be a good. He's running around pinning dudes at practice. Like that's not the fuck we need. I don't give a shit that a 75-year-old dude. Oh, he's so full of life. Who cares? Like what are the X's and O's? Like what are these players? I was saying during the draft hall, I was like, these guys on a good team, the two guys that they drafted in the second round and third round at receiver would not make a good team. They wouldn't make the roster. Our second round pick and our third round pick at receiver at a position of need after even midway through the season, we traded our number one receiver, still did not make an impact. That should tell you something. That Ashton Genty was our best receiving option, if not a hobbled Brock Bowers. We drafted two receivers on day two with two different skill sets, and neither one of them were a viable option for a team that was constantly losing games, so they needed to throw the ball, for a team that traded their number one receiver midway through the season. And we had two different starting quarterbacks. So, neither one of them felt like you were a good option. We had to bring in old ass Tyler Lockett off the scrap heap just to have a third down option for Gino to throw to when he had a time to throw behind that patchwork offensive line. This team does not make good choices. It's like they don't watch film of these
But is that the
players.
coach? Is that the coach or is that the front office
I mean,
putting
it's
together a team
everything.
that
It's everything together. It's everything
okay,
together. Pete Carroll,
l-
it's for Pete Carroll to call himself a head coach and a leader and all that shit. You move a guy like Jackson Powers Johnson off of center, who we drafted in I think the second or third round the year before, to be the center of the future for this team. And they move him to guard for some dude I never heard of, Alex Kappa, who fucking sucked, by the way, on an already shitty offensive line. And they let it persist for the whole year, even after it was proven that this guy Kappa is not good. This offensive line has a lot of problems. We should shake some things up. They still left him at guard. They never gave him an opportunity to be a center. And no matter how many times we had issues on our up and down our offensive line, we didn't do anything to. I don't think they drafted an offensive lineman until like late in the third round, maybe the fourth round or something. It doesn't make any sense. I said when we drafted Genty, why would you waste a draft pick like that on a running back? That doesn't make any sense. In a running back
Pretty
deep
freaking good.
draft, he is a very good running back, and he'd be better if he had an offensive line to run behind. This is a running back deep draft. Omarion Hampton got hurt. We don't know how good he could be, but he looked pretty fucking good when he was not hurt. The guy that I wanted, who ended up going to the fucking Patriots from Ohio State, he was pretty fucking good. Quinshaw Judkins, legal issues aside, was very, very good. There are good options at running back later in the round because this is a running back deep draft. They didn't have to go that. RJ Harvey, who's playing for the rival Broncos, played really fucking well. And he was like a second or a third round pick. So you didn't have to take Ashton Genty at 6. You could have traded down. You could have got a more impact offensive lineman. You could have done something to make this team better. You were not an Ashton Genty away from playoff contention. And decisions like that are why the Raiders are holding the number 1 overall pick, because they continue to make bad decisions. That is not necessarily a Pete Carroll thing, but I would like to believe that somebody of Pete Carroll's ilk had some kind of input on the goings on of this team and the direction that it goes. I don't think he just sat there in the war room looking at John Spytek in his first year as a GM of any franchise and was like, yeah, you pick him and I'll play him. And if he did, it looks even worse for him, because that's still a conscious decision for him to allow a guy in his first year as a GM to just torpedo the talent that you have in those rooms. So not putting your people in a position to succeed, that falls on the coach. Not giving good enough players for you to succeed as a team, that falls on the GM. And you falling on the sword in the press conference, I don't give a shit. You going in front of cameras and, hey, I own culpability. I don't fall for lip service like that no more. I'm not fucking 12. Yeah, you fucking sucked. And it's remarkable that you still have your job. It's probably because you're good friends with the minority owner that you still have your fucking job. Because before Pete Carroll, I probably would have been okay if they just fired John Spytek and kept Pete Carroll, personally.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
this just turned into Raiders therapy. So,
I mean, it's not therapy. They're
shout
gonna
out to
fuck this first overall pickup, but like the coaching carousel is what we really want to talk about. And
well, no. Okay,
among
I think you listen. You know more about your team than I do, obviously, because you watch them uh, more intently. What I was gonna say, sort of more broadly, just about coaching, and I feel like this is an NFL thing, because I'll say in the NBA, as I pay more attention to it, I feel like the crop of NBA coaches right now is like it's at its best. Like I don't think we've had a better like stretch of just I can't even think who the worst coach in the NBA is. Um, like not everybody's great, but like they're not like just sitting there collecting fucking money and just do it, or just like they're way over the hill. But like the team just brought them in because it's like, well, we don't know who to get, so we just got this guy who's we know his name, like Steve Clifford. No disrespect, but like I feel like he was just like the coach of Charlotte like 4 different times, and they were terrible every single time. But they were just like,
Monty
well, we know who.
Smith was pretty fucking bad that year. I'll say that.
Monty Williams. Yeah,
Yeah, Monty
that
was.
was
Yeah,
rough.
I got his name wrong.
That
Yeah,
was rough.
he was not good.
Um,
It's not ideal.
they paid that man $60 million to walk away. But in the NFL, I feel like you know, like whether the coaches are good or bad, it's like hard to tell because I feel like the roster construction sometimes can be iffy. But I also think the expectations are way out of whack. So, for example, you sign Pete Carroll to a 3-year deal, but you fire him after 1 year because because you couldn't stand to try again for another year. Like I don't think that you can build um any sort of continuity if you keep firing a bunch of coaches. And the Raiders
There it is, man.
are obviously like they're in a different tier of this conversation. Um
Mhm.
which is another reason why I thought the Pete Carroll firing was stupid, because it's like you just they've had 5 different coaches in the past 6 years, not counting the next guy who's going to come in.
That's the thing,
So
is that
that's
the
going to be 6
firing
coaches in
isn't
six.
The firing isn't the stupid part, though. That's the lead because you're spot on with all
No,
of it. But the
it
problem
it
is
is the stupid part because you haven't given the team or the coach an opportunity to build on anything. And it's not like this is the first time somebody was brought in to be a coach and the team was terrible. Like
but it was
in the
stupid.
history of the NFL.
The
You know
reason
what I
why the
mean?
firing isn't the stupid part is because it's the hiring. That's the dumb part. That is the
But you
part where it's
hired
dumb. It's
somebody who
showing
had
that you're not. Yeah, you're hiring
good.
somebody that did things in the past. Like when the Reds, but and they were still called the Redskins at this time. When the now Commanders, who were called the Redskins at the time, brought Joe Gibbs back because they just needed something to make the fans excited about the franchise again, whatever it is. And they learned very quickly that Joe Gibbs, the game had passed him. When the Raiders did it with Art Shell, they brought Art Shell back after a while. And it was very clear that the game had it is literally, I can't think of a time that it's worked. When you bring back a coach from the scrap heap who hasn't done
He
it, but
was
even if
he
you're
was
not talking
coaching the
about
year
the
before, by the way.
but even
He
I
was
mean, I'm just
coaching in
saying, like,
Seattle the year.
even if you're not talking about a coach, that's been away from the game for a while or that's an older coach or whatever the case may be, you're hiring a guy and firing him after the first year, not because they're just doing a terrible job, but because you don't know what you're getting when you're bringing these coaches in. Because you're doing this based on, well, every time you don't do a good job, that's a breach of contract. So I'm just going to fire you. And the point of the matter is if you don't understand the direction that your team is going in and you're just bringing people in because you want it to be an immediate fix, that's where the problem lies. You're bringing in a guy like Pete Carroll, who was already, when you hired him, the oldest coach in NFL history or whatever the stat was, the first coach to start a season at like 74 plus years old or whatever. You have to understand that first, you're putting an immediate timeline on when he can be your coach because he's not going to be your coach for the next decade. He's, going to be in convalescent home. So, like, you can't expect a guy like that to lead your franchise into the future because he's just at the end of his rope anyway as a coach,
I
even if
disagree.
he looks
I
young.
disagree.
So I mean, you just can't.
Because well,
It hasn't worked.
I I think the expectation is that you have to build a foundation, right? Like you
Right.
can't just you and I don't think you need to build the foundation with the guy who's going to be the coach 10 years from now. But if let's say they gave him the 2 years and they just be like, all right, like for the third year, like it's just not going to work. I would be like, fine, I think that makes sense. But to give him 1 year with the team that they had, I mean, like to me, it just doesn't really make sense. What did you gain? Like, to me, if anything, you set your team back because now whoever you're starting over with, you have no idea whether that person's going to keep any of the players on the team. Like you've pushed your timeline back as opposed to all these guys that you drafted last year, right? Genty and these wide receivers and all that stuff. Like
They suck. They
they're
won't be
not
on the
gonna.
team. It's
But I'm saying
they're
the
not
whole
good.
point of the whole point is to develop talent. You can't develop
Right,
talent if you
but
keep
when there's no
shuffling
talent
shit
on the
in and
team
out.
to be developed, like, so I
And
think
I
if the
didn't want to
Raiders
make it
don't end up
Raiders
with the
specific, by the way. But
well, if in general, but this has to be specific to the Raiders in this specific part, they have the number 1 overall pick, and they have a lot of cap space coming up. So, with that in mind, you have an opportunity to completely change a franchise. So now a guy that you bring in, you're like, this is going to be your opportunity. You bring a guy in, this is direction, this is the attitude that we want. Say you bring in a Brian Flores, right? I've wanted a black head coach for the Raiders forever, so I'm giving him a black head coach in this situation. Say you bring in a Brian Flores from Minnesota, the defensive coordinator in Minnesota, formerly head coach in Miami. You're like, look, Brian, I know you didn't like Tua when they drafted him in Miami. That's great. You have the number 1 overall pick. Do you like any of these guys or should we trade it? I like Dante Moore, actually. I'm not a big Mendoza guy. I like Dante Moore. Go ahead and draft that kid. I can do something with him. I can definitely do something with Max Crosby. I'm a defensive coach. But I'll put the offensive guys in place that can do something with this guy, Dante Moore, who I can believe in, who I can sell my defense on, is this guy moving the needle. If you have a guy with this number 1 overall pick, this is where you create and you set your culture.
And what if they
This is where
lose
you
for
create the
the
team
next
that
2 years?
then
What if they
that's
have the
then
worst record in the NFL for the next 2 years?
that's the risk that you have to take, but that's where if they had a younger coach, you could be like, "Look, it was a rough year. Things didn't work out. Our team was an embarrassment. Our offensive line was laughable." But if you look at some of the things that are coming out now, and obviously there's always hit pieces on the way out the door, but it's very clear that offensive line was a major problem. And I didn't know this until the pieces came out that the offensive line coach was the head coach's son. So our biggest problem on the team was offensive line, and it just so happens that the one place where nepotism hit the Raiders franchise was the offensive line coach was the coach's son. And seemingly it felt like he constantly put his players in a position to not succeed, didn't know what he was doing. It had to fall upon the GM to go on to film sessions and film study with the quarterback and with, Ashton Genty, our number one pick from last year. So if all of those things are true or even part of them are true, he has to go. And that's just the way that goes for him.
I
Now
still
for
disagree.
other franchises, if your team is not going in the direction that you want it to go, if you have an opportunity to completely push the reset button, then you have to take that opportunity. The problem for the Raiders is previously they've done that too fast, too fast, too fast. This is a situation where I agree with the timing of the firing, but I didn't agree with the hiring to begin with. I knew from jump that this was a bad hiring, and I was hoping that I would be wrong, but in the back of my mind, I knew that I would be right, and it sucks that I was proven right this quickly, and it looks horrible, but that's the situation that the Raiders are in. That this is what bad franchises look like. You're not supposed to understand this, Malik, because your team has won 2 Super Bowls in your lifetime. You are not supposed to know what this
So
looks like.
so let just because we won 2 Super Bowls, that was a completely different regime. And
So
the
what?
example actually that I was going to that makes a difference because the example that I was going to use was the Giants getting rid of Brian Daboll this year, which I thought was stupid because I didn't think he was the problem. I thought the GM was the problem. But my point is, NFL teams seem to think that getting rid of the coach and bringing in some other new coach is going to be the cure all for all their problems. And I I just don't think that that's the right mentality to have. There's a reason why the Steelers have only had 3 coaches in the last, like, 70 years, which is
Mhm.
an insane thing to say, but it's like they've only had 3 coaches for the last 70 years, and the idea that that Mike Tomlin, maybe they'll get rid of him and replace him with somebody else who's gonna be great. I mean, I
Mike
guess
Tomlin's
they've done it.
never had the number 1 overall pick in a draft. He's never had a losing season. So
I
it's
don't care about number 1 overall picks. I don't care about none of that stuff.
yeah.
What I'm talking about is building a winning culture, right? Like you have to there's a lot of teams that didn't get the number 1 overall pick that won the Super Bowl.
So who of, like,
That have
these modern coaches that you're thinking of has gone through a situation where they've been so bad that they've had, like, we'll say a top 5 pick, and is now, like, a real contender for a championship? Like, what coach comes to your mind immediately? Because I can't, not even Bill Belichick, I can't think of any. Because Belichick was on the chopping block, and he was a wild card too. I think if they lose that snowball game, the Tuck Rule game, I have said for years, I think that Belichick is fired. That winning
maybe
that,
I don't
going
know.
on that Super Bowl run, I think saved his career. It definitely at least his job for the Patriots, because I think it was 3 straight not good years leading into that season, or 2 straight not good years leading into that season, and I think that in his 3rd year is when he ended up
Well, I
going on
mean,
that Super Bowl run, but
I I don't think the hypothetical really matters because they did win the game and
right.
the Patriots
But no,
became the ultimate franchise. Like
but
they
if you're talking
became
about building
the
a culture
epitome.
of winning, I just wanna know, like, you have to have an example of a team that has let a guy fail and then seeing the positive come out of that. Like, when has letting it letting a guy fail, when has it turned around for a franchise and won? Because for Hugh
What you're
Jackson, it
calling
didn't work
letting a
out.
guy fail, I would call growth. Uh,
Whatever, when has
but
whatever you wanna call growth, like, give me an example
I can't think of one
of
off
a
the top of
current
my head, to be quite
because
honest
it
with you.
hasn't happened. These guys
So
that
you, so
come
what you're
in.
saying is, if you're a good
Mhm.
coach, immediately you just go straight to the Super Bowl and then just have massive
No, what I'm
success.
saying is if you're a good coach, then immediately the team takes on your persona, immediately you improve your team in the areas that matter. Mike McDonald took over that Seahawks team, and immediately they started winning double-digit games. Immediately. He leaves the Ravens, they go from the number 1 defense to now a bottom 3rd defense in the NFL. So it's a double effect to where the team he left gets worse and the team he goes to gets better because Mike McDonald is the guy who the Seahawks thought he was when they hired him, and he continues to be that person. That is what that is. Kevin O'Connell was a QB guru or whatever when he took the job in Minnesota. It worked out with Kirk Cousins for years, and it seemed like it was going to work out with JJ McCarthy. Now he might be just so bad it's not going to work out with him, but they've proven that the Kevin McConnell situation works. So he can fail in a year with their number 1 pick not being good because they have the proof that, hey, when you get this guy even a halfway decent quarterback, he can make some things happen. He can get you a team that can win 14 fucking games in a regular season. That's important stuff. These guys don't come in and take over franchises if you're the man and then immediately you lose double digit games. I don't know anybody as a head coach. Now, I'm not saying you should just be immediately fired for that. I think the best example that you could have that you could have used is Dan Campbell, but he had to turn around a
So you agree with my
franchise that
point then?
was used to lose. No, I don't. I don't agree with your point from the standpoint of you don't have to go through losing. I think to change the culture, you have to just be the guy that's going to change that culture. Dan
But you
Campbell
can't.
seemingly is the exception to the rule because outside of him, I really can't think of anybody, but he is the name that I thought of when you think of a guy that's been through failures and has seen himself on the other side win with that same team in that same tenure. But like other than him, I'm looking at these other guys come into teams and immediately make an impact, immediately change shit. Now, whether those wins and those changes are sustainable is remains to be seen. But like even a guy like Mike McDonald who lost his job, or not Mike McDonald, even a guy like the Dolphins head coach who recently lost his job, right? As soon as he came in, he figured out the stuff that Brian Flores couldn't figure out with Tua. He went and got him receivers that made Tua look like a better quarterback than he was. And it worked for a couple of years. They missed their window and now he's out of a job. But like the guys that are the guy, the guys that are the culture changers, they're not looking for cameras to do like the viral thing. We're like, oh, look at Pete Carroll
I
pinning
didn't
a guy
say
during
they were looking
practice.
for cameras.
I'm not saying that this is what you're saying. What I'm saying is overall, the culture changes immediately and not in a necessarily cosmetic way, but it's going to change in the ways that matter and wins. It had that it's always happened that way.
It hasn't. Matter of fact, I'll give you an example. Which I mean, you're gonna push back on this because it was 30, 40 years ago. But Jimmy Johnson, when he started with the Cowboys, they lost for the first couple years.
No, that's a good example. I don't push back on that. That's
Yeah,
a
I
good
mean,
one. But those are
like
those are
I,
seemingly exceptions to the rule though, right?
I don't know
You
if it's
can't
an
get like I
exception.
don't know.
I don't know that is. I don't know that it's the exception because I think to it a lot of this depends on what you have on your team when you get there. If you have nothing on your team, it's going to take a little bit longer. Now, if you have a great player or great players, and it's just like, oh, well, we have the players, we just need the coach, then yeah, I think a guy could come in and galvanize a group, and all of a sudden it's like, hey, we feel different, and winning changes everything. Winning makes you feel like everything's great. Everybody's riled up and the coach is the greatest who's ever done it, and you'd run through a wall for him and all of the fucking cliches that they say in sports. And if you lose, then it's like, yeah, like, this guy isn't as good as the other guy, or this guy anybody could. It's not about him. It's about us. You get the other cliches. So, like, what I'm saying is, I think that there's an issue with the fact that teams just think that they're just gonna bring in some other person who's gonna magically change everything when all the rest of the stuff that they need to fix is not in order. That's
Do
basically
you
what I'm
think
saying. I'm not
or
saying
do you th
sorry, go ahead.
no. Can you finish your point?
Well, no, I guess I'm not saying that I don't think that, that coaches shouldn't come in and change the culture. I'm just saying that that might not necessarily translate to wins right away, and that doesn't mean you should get rid of a guy in a year. Pete Carroll may be a different case because again, you watched all the games, you've clearly paid attention to him. Maybe he
Yeah,
was over the hill, right? Like,
yeah.
but I do think you like what you've already in that case, you already have given up on like so many coaches that I kind of think you have to bite the bullet and just be like, look, what can we learn? What can we take from Pete Carroll? Pete Carroll clearly
I agree.
has some sort of knowledge that we can extract for this next crop, and then next year it's like, hey, Pete, this isn't really working out. You know, we want to move on. We want to find somebody who can take what you did and like build on that. But you can't build if you keep burning shit down. You know what I'm saying? I think
That
that's
was
my point. Is it
that was my issue, and that's it became a disagreement because the specific example that we were going back to kept going back to was the Raiders. I do believe that under certain circumstances, if you give somebody a fucking lemon and then expect them to turn it into a Lamborghini immediately, I think that that is bullshit, and you shouldn't be judged immediately upon that. What I believe is that and that's why I mentioned the fact that the issue was not in the firing of Pete Carroll, it was in the hiring of Pete Carroll, because when you bring a
sure?
guy in like that, you're expecting him to immediately change the culture. That's what they mentioned is they brought Pete Carroll in. The idea was, look, we know you wanted to retire. We know you're old. We need 3 years. We want you to change the culture. We want you to get these guys who haven't won before. We want to bring somebody in who has won a lot, who has a Super Bowl, and knows what it takes to make a run like that and to sacrifice and all those things. We want a guy like that who is full of life, and we
Bridge,
want to bring that in so that when the next guy takes over for you, that we have the culture set. And whatever you need to feel comfortable, you want your quarterback, you want Gino, let's go get Gino. Or whatever, because that's a quarterback that you trust. You trusted him in Seattle, you're gonna trust him here or whatever. He won, XYZ amount of games when you was in Seattle a couple of years ago. Let's go bring him in. He just won 12 games last year with Seattle. But, like, again, that was the wrong choice. And my issue last year when they got rid of Antonio Pierce, and I had vocalized it, was you never gave that man an opportunity to win. And that's where the issue lies. Because I do think I don't know that Antonio Pierce will be a great X's and O's coach. I don't. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. I don't know enough about the X's and O's of football to get into that. But I do know that from what I saw out there on that field, that there wasn't a lot of quit in that team. I saw a team that was devoid of talent at key positions, that did not have a quarterback that would even hold a clipboard on any other playoff team in the NFL, and they started most of the games for us. And it's all due respect to Aiden O'Connell. As disrespectful as it was what I just said, like, it's just the reality of it is that he's just not that good, and that's who he was asked to go out there and win with, is Aiden O'Connell. And then Zamir White, who got like 0 carries this year for the Raiders. So you're talking about a quarterback who took 0 snaps and a running back who took 0 snaps for the Raiders this year. And those were our that was our leading battery last year, around the behind the same offensive line that we just put out in front of Ashton Genty and Geno Smith this year. And you're surprised that he only won 4 or 5 games? Like, that's not surprising. You're not putting him in an opportunity. You're not putting him in a position to win. And so when you quit on that and you don't give a person an opportunity to really win and to put a winner in front of him, and you blame him for a situation that he inherited, I think that that's bullshit. And it was bullshit, because anybody that watched him during his interim season and how he finished that year when we finally got rid of Josh McDaniels completely understood that he moves the needle for these players. Regardless of what you want to think about the X's and O's, the players that he brings in make an impact, and they care about him, and they play hard for him. And you can't really say that for Pete Carroll. They probably all think, "Oh, he's a nice guy," but, like, he gave his son a job that he didn't deserve, and he wasted the opportunity, and he made our players look bad. and I had to watch them waste a year of a young man's career, Nash Genti, which I did not want to happen, at a position that's been already so greatly devalued in the modern game and already comes with a shorter lifespan than almost any other position in the league. And you wasted a year on his timeline for what? A great player who we don't deserve, like Max Crosby, wasted another year playing for this franchise to the point where we were so focused on tanking that we put him on the ghost IR just so that he wouldn't fuck it up and win a game for us by himself. Like, these are the types of things that are happening for a bad franchise. So there's a difference between what your team did in firing a guy like Daboll maybe too soon. I don't know. I'm not intimately aware of the Brian Daboll situation for you. I think he's had an opportunity with two different quarterbacks now. I think maybe it was time for him to go personally, but that's just how I feel. The Raiders, like I said, their problem is rotten from the inside, but the decision to hire Pete Carroll is the problem. It's not the decision to fire him, and it's a sign of something deeper that we have 5 coaches on the payroll and none of them are coaching this team or selecting this number 1 overall pick. That is not a sign of bad firings. That is a sign of bad ownership, bad stewardship, and a lack of leadership at the top.
That we agree. We
Yeah.
definitely agree.
Yeah. But we'll see what happens. Like I said, to the original topic that we get on for this, I am happy to have the first overall pick. I am excited for what that could potentially mean for this team. Not that they've given me a reason to believe in them at all over the past few years, but I am going to try and put my faith in John Spytek and the people that he has at his disposal to find a proper steward to lead this team, to pick a player or to trade for multiple players with this number 1 overall pick that is going to put this team back into playing competitive football. I don't need 10 wins. I don't need the playoffs. I just need competitive football. I like being able to watch a game in December and it fucking matters. Like, give me like the illusion of, hey, we fought for a potential wild card spot and we just fell short. Like, you know, that's all I want. Next year, there is no Pat Mahomes for most of next year, or at least half of next year. Justin Herbert, who knows? Coin toss with how good he or that team is going to be for next year. And then Bo Nix, you never know. Maybe Cinderella, maybe the clock strikes midnight on that Cinderella story with Bo Nix. But you have a real opportunity with the number 1 overall pick and all this cap space to make something happen. And I really hope that they don't waste it. So we will see what happens with that.
Well, you get to see the potential one of the two, I should say, of the
Both of
potential
them, yeah, they're gonna be at the game. The Peach
quarterbacks
Bowl.
that could
I will be
come off
working the
the
Peach Bowl on Friday.
yeah. Yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, I think Indiana's gonna destroy it. Like, I haven't seen anything like this. I mean, I know college football is not necessarily your ministry. I get it. It's really not mine. We're Northeastern people. Like, college football, like, who fucking care? But, like, just on the periphery of college football, I think we both understand that the University of Indiana is not a college football, haven, and for
Not
Curt
since like
Cignetti to take this.
1950.
He went from James Madison, who at the time I think was still D2. I don't think they had made the leap to D1 yet, to take over like the worst, we'll call them franchises at this point because all these players are millionaires and shit now anyway. So take on the worst college franchise in Indiana, at least in Big Ten history, probably up there with Colorado for CFB history, and immediately changed their fortune. And
Mhm.
this year, undefeated and the odds-on favorite to win the national championship. I know that's who I'm probably gonna put my money on to win the national championship. I mean, it's truly remarkable to see. And they put the beats on Alabama. They put the beats on Alabama. They slayed Ohio State in the Big Ten championship game. They already beat this Oregon team earlier this year. I think they're gonna beat them again. It's hard to beat a team twice. Um But I think they're gonna beat Oregon again, and I don't think it'll be particularly that close.
Okay. I mean, they are the
Yeah.
favorites to win the national championship, so
Yeah, I'm
putting your money
taking
on
for my
them is
bettors out there, I'm taking Indiana and the under,
okay.
if that
Okay.
helps the people that are betting out
Y'all
there.
heard it here
Tomorrow
first.
Yeah,
So
tomorrow
take
tomorrow
Oregon in the
I'm,
over.
honestly, the way my bets have been working,
Yeah,
definitely fade me for sure, the way my bets have been going. I've been wrong about Miami every week of this CFP, and, I'm willing to be wrong about them again because I'm taking Ole Miss in the over. I was flipping a coin about it back and forth,
bro.
but I'm
I'm
taking
I'm with you.
Mississippi in the over. Yeah.
I kind of want
I'm putting
Ole
$10
Miss
on
to
it
win the
tomorrow
whole thing. I want Ole Miss to win the whole thing. Rub it in that
just to
man's
shove it
face.
down.
Yeah,
Yeah, to Lane Kiffin,
yeah,
stick it to
yeah,
Lane Kiffin,
yeah,
your
yeah,
former Raiders coach, so, I have no problem with sticking it to Lane
yeah.
Kiffin, to be honest with you, but,
Because I feel like I
um
feel like those players like they really like they truly don't like him at
they
all.
despise him, it
They're
seems
all
like.
kind of yeah. They all
Yeah,
kind of have made it pretty clear that they don't fuck with him at all. So,
yeah.
um,
I mean, I just like this kid, Trinidad Chambers, I love the story. I don't know if he'll ever
great
play a
name too.
snap in the NFL, I have no idea, great name. I don't know if he'll ever play a snap in the NFL, he's undersized, mostly D2 credentials, this could just be a Cinderella season for this kid, but, like, I want it to keep going. This Miami defense is so for real, but, like, I think the thing for me is if you look deeper on these Miami wins, and the same could kinda honestly be sorta said for Trinidad Chambers, but, like, the quarterback for Texas A&M, Marcel Reed, has had his issues passing the football. Um, and then you look at Ohio State, and a lot of people were saying Ohio State was not very battle tested, and in the one really tough test that they had, they failed it. They lost to Indiana. They beat Texas early in the season, but that was
Hmm.
in the shoe, so, it's kinda hard to, take that one with a grain of salt, but on a neutral field against a good opponent, they haven't really proved a whole lot, and a lot of people were saying that, their quarterback was kinda fraudulent. I know that's how I felt post-game. I was like, "Ah, this guy kinda, like, he's kind of a fraud," but this Trinidad Chambliss thing and the skill position players that Mississippi has, Kawan Lacey is probably the best running back that Miami has played maybe even all season. Um, you got Wallace in the receiver group, Stribling, who has really come on late for Ole Miss. They've got a lot of really good skill position players, and then on top of that, Trinidad Chambliss can make things happen with his legs. And hey, if anything happens to him, and God forbid he gets hurt, I think Simmons is still with the team. I don't think he's transferred yet, so I think he's still with the team for the rest of the playoff run. He could hop in there, and he was the starter to begin the season. So, um, I really like this team, and I have a feeling about this, Mississippi in the over. So that's what I'm taking. I'm taking Mississippi in the over, and then I'm doing a combo of Mississippi and Indiana to win over the weekend to make it to the national title games. Though those are my bets going in,
Heard it here
which
first.
means fade. Yeah, it means faded.
No, I'm gonna tell
I'm
you. I'm gonna
gonna make
tell
a
you.
pre-apology.
Ride with you.
You gonna I appreciate it, man.
I'm gonna ride
You
with you.
just, I mean, you would probably do better to just set your $10 on fire than to follow me into the flames.
Hey,
Shout out to you, man. You're a real one. Imma
we gonna
probably place
burn.
a bet before I go to sleep so I don't second guess it in the morning. Imma just like,
Yeah.
right when we hop off of here, Imma hop on Prize Picks and put the bet in for my,
Well, I have
Ole
to do
Miss in
that
the
because
over.
I'll forget. I'll forget by
Yeah.
tomorrow. So
Well, you get to
yeah,
bet it for real, so you can, like, parlay stuff. It kinda sucks for me, like, at least Prize Picks allows you to pick some of this stuff, but I can't really parlay anything, so
yeah. I don't know if I'm gonna parlay anything, but no, no. Actually, I'll parlay Indiana and
yeah, put
and
all
Ole
those things
Miss.
together.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm gonna do overs and unders and all that because I got to do my
Yeah, I
research for
mean,
that.
that's the only way to get value out of the pick is to take. And I think if Mississippi is to win, I think they're gonna have to go over 51.5 point. I think that's what the over-under is right now. So one of the combo bets that you can bet on the Prize Pick teams format is,
Yeah, yeah.
you can take Mississippi in
We're
the
not getting
over
paid by Prize Picks, by the way,
51.5.
if
So
anyone's
no,
curious.
we're not. It's
Yeah, we're
just
not
I'm
no
in Georgia, and
sponsorship.
that's the only way that I can really bet on stuff like this is that because I'm not doing no like call sheet or whatever the hell weird apps and shit that's going on. Like I'm not trying to get paid in Bitcoin. I just want my money.
I feel it.
So
I'm
there's
not a
yeah.
prediction market guy either. So yeah. All right.
Yeah, we'll see.
There we
We'll
go.
see. We'll see what happens, man. I'm just
CFP.
looking forward to it. I don't work tomorrow night. So I'm finna eat like shit. I'm finna Jasmine's gonna
Order
hate
some
this, but I'm
wings.
getting Little Caesars pizza. I'm not. Yeah, well,
Oh, that's
I'm getting
disgusting.
Little Caesars pizza. Okay. First of all, let me just say something. And for our deep cut fans who remember my Pizza Hut versus New York pizza take, fuck you guys too. Okay, I'm on the right side of history here.
No, you're not.
I
But go
am.
ahead.
I'm looking at you, Yao. This is for Yao G's right here. This is because he was the first person to say something about that when we posted that clip. Okay, this is for you. Okay, one, fuck the Knicks, Sixers gang, bang bang. You know what I'm saying? Where to VJ Max. But Little Caesars is it's just a good concept of a pizza. You got the hot and
No,
ready.
it's not.
They got all the best pizza deal. It is. It is. It's the Pizza
If
Hut
I
is
if
the
I
best
if
pizza,
I
but like Little Caesars
if
is
I
just a
ate the
great concept. The bacon wrap
if I
pizza.
ate the
Have you had the
box,
bacon? Have you had the bacon wrap pizza? I just come on. Have you had
no,
it?
I haven't had the bacon wrap
Then you
pizza
can't
because I'm not
possibly know
5
what I'm
years
talking
old.
about.
Okay, all right, grow up and eat real pizza.
Why don't you grow down and get the bacon wrap pizza? Why don't you? You know, some
Aren't you
say the
just get a
cucumber tastes
pizza?
better pickled. I'm just
Listen,
saying,
you
if
can
you've
order
never had the
pizza
bacon
from
wrap
any number
pizza,
of places.
you have to recuse yourself from the conversation if you've never had the bacon wrap pizza. Like you can't have a valid opinion on Little Caesars pizza if you've never had bacon
I've
wrap pizza.
had Little Caesars and their pizza fucking sucks.
But
Okay,
that's not what that's like saying I was like, I've had Olive Garden, but you never had a pasta. You was just eating the fucking breadsticks or whatever the fuck, you know.
well, the
I
breadsticks
don't
are
even
better.
know what the equivalent would be. But if you go to a restaurant and you don't have the bet, like, yeah, I don't know what's a good restaurant. I had STK, but you know I got a cheeseburger and it wasn't that great and it was overpriced. Like yeah, because you got a burger at a fucking steak joint. You know what I mean?
Well, if you can't do burgers, how am I supposed to trust you with the steak?
It's a steak joint. It's not a burger joint. They have burgers in
It's
case
all
some.
meat, baby. It's
Oh
all
my
it's
god,
all
not the same
beef.
thing. Pause.
It's all
It's
beef.
not the same. It's not the same thing. It just isn't. It just isn't. You have to get the bacon wrap. If you don't get the bacon wrap pizza, you can't truly appreciate the genius behind the marketing in Little Caesars Pizza. Hot and ready, great concept. It's $5. It's
Disgusting.
ready when you pull up. Do you want this pepperoni pizza or not? We'll give you this pepperoni pizza. It's just gonna sit here and die. Do you want this pepperoni
Yeah,
pizza that
no, it
we just
won't. It
made
will
10
never
minutes
die.
ago?
That pizza will never
$5.
ever die.
Do you understand what it is like to walk into a pizza restaurant and just pay $5 and get a hot slice of a hot pizza overall? In New York, you get a slice and it's probably still an extra $2 on top of that five. This, you literally take an Abraham Lincoln greenback and you hand it to the cashier. They will hand you no change and they will hand you a nice large, by the way, box of pizza. It's a large
Mm,
pizza.
okay.
They don't skimp on the pepperoni because it's a $5 hot and ready and none of that shit. I mean, it's just it's a good
I
concept.
want
The
better for you,
sides are
bro.
good. The only thing for Little Caesars that's like, give me a fucking break is the breadsticks. It's like, no, we don't need the
Why are you
breadsticks.
eating all of these things from Little Caesars?
I haven't had Little Caesars in a long time. Since the
That's
last
too
time that they
long.
had bacon wrap
That's
pizza.
too long.
No,
The fact that you
that's my
have it at all
point.
is
It is too long. I have to go
no,
back.
no, no.
Just see, you are making my point for me.
Sorry, I meant to say it's not long enough. The point
Well,
is,
I think as a
stop eating
Freudian
Little
slip is what
Caesars,
we
yo.
would call that at the business.
Stop eating Little Caesars,
Listen,
yo.
just because
Treat
people
yourself
would look
better.
at you weird, just because people would look at you weird because you're in New York and you're eating Little Caesars pizza doesn't mean that it wouldn't be the right choice. That's all I'm saying.
It has
This
absolutely
isn't
nothing to do
like a
with New York.
situation like if I was in Philly, right? And I went to Jersey Mike's to get my cheesesteak, I would understand your point. Look at me weird. That's fine. That's a bad choice. There's plenty of places to get a good cheesesteak, even great, in the city of Philadelphia. How dare you go to Jersey Mike's for your Philly cheese?
See, here's the
I
difference,
live in
though.
Atlanta. It's the home of the wings. You don't go to Wingstop when you live in Atlanta. There's a million different wing places that shit on Wingstop. All due respect to Rick Ross, but it just is the truth. So you don't go to those places.
But here's the difference. The difference is, if you were like, oh, I went to Pizza Hut and I lived in New York, that would be a comparison,
That's
right?
the
To
right
like going to
choice. That's
Jersey,
no, that's the right
going to
choice.
Jersey Mike's, whatever. Going
No,
to
no, no, no,
Jersey
no, no,
Mike's
no,
in
no, no,
Philly.
no, 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 no. I
You're
want you to
going
stop yourself
to
because don't
no,
invoke
no,
the
no, no.
name of
I
pizza.
won't stop.
Do not do.
I won't stop.
Don't invoke
I'm
the
gonna
name
keep
of pizza
going.
because you know.
Pizza Hut, Domino's, Papa John's, whatever. Anyway, the
Don't.
point is,
Nah. No.
the bottom of
No.
the barrel is fucking Little Caesars. It's
How
like
fucking
eating
dare
the
you?
cardboard that came with the pizza.
Have
That's
you
basically what it is.
ever had the bacon wrapped pizza? Yes or no?
Please stop talking about this damn bacon wrap pizza. No, and I
I'm
don't
just
want it.
asking a question. So then you don't know. You just don't know. That's just the truth.
All right,
It
here's what I'll
is.
say. Here's what I'll say. I hope you enjoy your Little Caesars
You don't
because you
believe,
deserve.
like, now I have a
You went,
problem
no, no,
because
no,
you
no,
don't
no. I
believe it.
want you. No, the thing is, this is one thing I know for sure. Sometimes you just want what you want, you know, and sometimes all you need is just I want my things. I want the game on, and I'm happy. And nobody should be
Listen,
able to make you feel bad. So I'm wrong
Malik, I'm
here.
not
I'm
gonna
wrong.
ask you to call Little
I'm
Caesars
wrong.
pizza delicious, but it would be nice. It would be a nice
That's
touch.
never
I'm
gonna
not
happen.
gonna.
The most you'll get is that I'm wrong, and you deserve to be happy. That's the most you gonna get. The rest, never.
Can't, what I can't really believe is that you would sit there with your
Mm,
judgment face, because this is a
mhm.
judgment face from you that I'm getting right
Yeah,
now.
I peel
Um,
back on the judgment. Go ahead.
no, you don't peel back on the. It's already out. The cat's out the bag. Okay, but you can't put Pandora back in its box. It's already out of there.
Okay.
I would just ask for you to broaden your horizons. That's
My
all I'm at.
horizons are
Just
actually
broaden
pretty
your
broad.
horizon. They're not broad because you've never had the bacon
They
wrap
are,
pizza from Little Caesars. You're
and
judging
I
all
never
of
will.
Little Caesars based off of one probably bad experience. Like, we was in Hampton in
Oh
the
yeah.
same exact time frame, the same 4 years, bro, and not one time did you stop and get yourself a bacon wrap pizza. What's wrong with you? Like, what?
I've had
Why would you
pizza.
not do that?
You talking to somebody who would eat pizza every day for the rest of his life, okay? From
And
anywhere.
you
So
would eat it for breakfast, lunch, and
yeah,
dinner if you would've had the bacon wrap
exactly.
pizza from Little Caesars.
No, I
I
would not.
guarantee it.
No,
I
no. I would
guarantee
quit
it.
pizza and probably go eat salad to the rest of my life if I was eating that shit.
That's just not
But you
true.
like it,
It's just not
so
true.
I love it. Yeah,
It's just not true.
you
The
like it, I
Ninja
love it.
Turtles would approve of Little Caesars, by the way. I just want you to
No,
know that. It's
do not
very
besmirch.
important that you understand.
Do not
It's a
besmirch
very
the name.
important distinction. Yes, they would.
No,
Yes, they would.
it's not
Because
cheesy enough.
the Ninja Turtles didn't go around to fucking Brooklyn and buy a fucking slice. They bought whole pies. Okay? Whole pies.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So Little Caesars sells whole pies. It's not like a fucking
They
slice
sell whole
sat in
pies in New
fucking
York, Aaron. You
plastic.
think they just only sell slices? It's like a law that they only sell slices of
Bruh.
pizza.
It is a law. It
No, it's
is.
not.
It's what it seems like. They're fucking you just have like these you go to these pizza places and shit, and they have the glass case and the pies that just been sitting there to the point where the cheese congeals on the top and is almost like damn near fluorescently see
That's
through.
what you're getting at Little Caesars, but they take it out the
No,
oven
it's
and it's
not.
still like that.
It's just
Yeah.
not true. No, it
Hey
isn't.
man,
It's a beautifully gooey, soft pie. I prefer Pizza Hut because I like their undercarriage better than any other pizza spot, including your mom and pop shops. Pizza Hut makes the best undercarriage. It just does. 90s Pizza Hut is completely unassailable. I will hear nothing about it.
it's great.
It's just
I love Pizza Hut.
90s Pizza Hut pan pizza is the perfect pizza.
Fantastic, fantastic.
It's a 10 out of 10. No, maybe even 11 out of 10. It's a perfect pizza. But even now, give me a Pizza Hut pizza. How dare you put Domino's in the same sentence as Pizza Hut? Like, that really, I feel like that's offensive. That hurt my
They're all
feelings.
great. They're all great
No, no, give
except
me
for
your
Little
fucking
Caesars.
kumbaya participation trophy. They're all great shit. Okay? They're not all
They
great.
are.
Pizza
They're
Hut
all
is
fine.
great. Domino's is like whatever. I can't
Sure.
believe you. I really can't even believe.
You going
I
after
almost can't even
Domino's
look
after
at you
you
right now.
just
This is crazy.
you going after Domino's after you just wax poetically about one pizza, just bacon wrap pizza, not the other ones. You can't speak on the other ones, which is crazy.
Because I
I mean,
haven't.
listen,
I go back to celebrate the things that I like. I liked the bacon wrap pizza when I used to have the $5 hot and ready from Little Caesars. When I found out that they did it, young guy on a college budget, I pay $5. I got food for 3 days. I got food for three
it took
days
you
off
3 days to
of
eat a pizza.
$5. So I would go to Little Caesars, $5 hot and ready. That's how it got on my radar. The commercial started to come out and they had this bacon wrap pizza. And I was like, I like bacon. I like pizza. I've been eating Little Caesars pizza for the last couple of months now. Why
Mm.
wouldn't I try this bacon wrap pizza? And you know what? It changed my fucking life. That shit was delicious. Pepperoni bacon pizza, pan pizza, and the crust around the edge is covered in bacon?
How much are they paying you?
I'm just saying, not enough, honestly. Nothing. This is free game. I'm giving people free game here. This is free. Like you know,
Yeah,
it's a
I
some
respect it.
might call it a national holiday when bacon wrap pizza comes back. It's like when McDonald's brings back the Szechuan sauce or the sweet chili dipper sauce. You know what I mean? Like that
Mm.
does
You could
it's
just
a
go to
holiday.
Popeyes. They got the sweet heat. They got that sweet heat
Sweet
ready
heat
for
is the
you.
one. See, you do
Yeah.
have some good food opinion. This is a
I
revelation
have
for me. At
all the
least
good
you
opinions,
have
actually.
a good food opinion. That's fantastic. You probably think Raising Cane's seasons their fucking chicken well and shit,
Don't
the
go
way
there,
that you're
but
talking to me right now.
yeah.
You probably think Five Guys gives competitive and fair pricing on their burgers and fries.
I'm gonna
That's
pay
what
them
this
money
is
for
all
what I
giving.
want. I'm gonna get that. I'm gonna get that.
Do you like
Pay
Five
that
Guys?
money.
Do you
Five
like
Guys is
Five Guys?
fantastic. Yeah, it's amazing.
I can't.
Crazy? You crazy?
You can't tell me about my opinion on food and you fuck with Five Guys. That is insane to me.
Everyone likes Five Guys. Five Guys is universally
No,
beloved.
no, because price matters when you're talking about flavor of food. It matters. If I paid $20 for a burger, it
Well, I
needs
don't
to
know why
taste
you
like a
paid $20
$20
for a
burger.
burger.
I'm
Wait,
just
you paid
saying.
$20 for a burger at Five Guys?
Yes.
Oh well, they getting y'all down there. They don't cost them $20
A
up
bacon
here.
cheeseburger at Five Guys is like
You could get
$17
the
with plus
everything
tax.
on it, and it's still not that much money. There's no way
That's
that you
cap.
paid that much money.
You lying. I'll show it to you
This,
on fucking Yelp right now. I'll pull it up
yo,
on Yelp and I'll text it to you.
please.
I'll text you
That's
the
the
picture
tariffs.
offline. I promise you, that shit crazy. It's
That's
not the
that's
fucking
tariffs.
tariffs. I did this
That's
pre-Trump. This was a pre-Trump. This was a Biden administration burger that I'm talking about. I
don't
bought
put
me and
don't
my
put that on
cousin.
Joe. Don't put that on
Hey,
Joe.
that this was a Joe. This was a Joe situation.
Sleepy
Obama
Joe
would
has you
never let
paid
this
$20.
happen. I'm just saying it. Obama would never have let this happen. And if Kamala knew what Five Guys was doing, she wouldn't have let this happen. I would never put that
Okay,
on
I
that black
respect
woman.
it.
Joe old
Got you.
senile last probably let it happen though.
Yeah.
I mean, in the
Well, they
Trump
got you, bro.
administration, it's probably 40 for the same burger, but it was a bacon. Me and my cousin, he came down for the Celebration Bowl. He went to North Carolina. He goes to North Carolina Central. The spot that we went to was 21 and up, but he had to get back for curfew to his thing, so we had to find somewhere quick to go. So we went to the Five Guys downtown Atlanta. So location matters. It was downtown Atlanta, so maybe the prices are a little bit elevated because downtown Atlanta, whatever. 2 bacon cheeseburgers, 2 fries, 2 milkshakes. How much you think that cost?
Apparently $40.
It, almost $70.
Yeah. Well, they got you. They
Yeah.
got you. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Not me,
I felt like
but they
I
got
would
you.
rather have paid for OnlyFans than some shit like that.
You could have just went to McDonald's as well.
I couldn't have because there was no, like, McDonald's drive-through downtown. Like, we had already parked and we were walking around. We needed a place within walking
Uh,
distance where we could sit and get a burger. Um,
and
because I wasn't about to, like, repark and shit like that. And, downtown, they're not gonna have no drive-through. So
that's
I was
true.
like, "Yo,
That's
let's just
true.
find a place that's close, get this burger, and then I gotta get you back to the hotel so you can make your curfew or whatever it is."
You
So
got to
you
check the
you ain't
receipt though and see if they added some sort of tax on that,
some crazy, yeah, or like tip themselves or
like
some shit like that. Nah, I
downtown.
mean, I
Yeah,
went back and
gratuity
that's
plus.
when I
Yeah.
went back and looked at the menu on like Yelp and I saw it and I was like, yo, this is how much it costs just for the bacon. Because my boy that works with me at Mercedes Benz, he'll be there working the Peach Bowl with me on Friday. He didn't believe me. He was like, nah, I mean, Five Guys is expensive, but didn't cost you 75 for that. And I went and looked it up. I was like, yes, the fuck it did. Look, this is how much just one I just pulled up the picture of one bacon cheeseburger, and I said it to him. I was like, "See? Look at this shit.
The single patty.
Single patty."
That's crazy. They
It might
got
have
you.
yeah, it was not ideal. I don't even under let me see. Yeah, bacon cheeseburger.
It's just the screenshot that you took. I can't even see what that says. Does it say $12?
Imma text it to you.
Okay.
No, you yeah, yeah, yeah. Imma text it to you. You would think it said $12. $12 would have been more reasonable of a price, but no.
I like how we've been talking about Five Guys and Little Caesars Pizza for like a solid 25 minutes.
It's what
It's 1
people
a.m.
come here for, is my scintillating food takes. The people just that's they tune in for us, obviously,
Yeah,
but they stay
they stay for the food
because
takes.
I'm trying to put you on game with food because they're like, Malik just has horrible food taste, and we wanna watch Aaron educate him for 20
Mhm.
minutes on proper fast food pizza and, burger pricing
Yeah, I'm too
strategies.
busy, I'm too busy eating, uh, making my own food. I'm trying to just do my own thing. I got
Same.
some lamb chops I'm about to throw down. You know what I'm saying? I just had some steak earlier today. I've moved on from the hot and readies, even though I was never on the hot and ready, but I moved on from the possibility
That sounds like a
of the hot
I
and
mean,
ready.
that sounds like a personality flaw to me, if you're being honest. I just
Yeah,
I would like for
yeah.
you to treat yourself.
I will to something that's actually a treat.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's just an
for my
unnecessary dig.
elevated
This is an
palate.
unnecessary dig. You didn't have to go at Little Caesars. Like, Little Caesars didn't do anything to you. They're delicious. They're delicious. They're just very good. Like, for the bang for
Great
your buck, like,
commercials.
I can't
Great
get into
commercials.
it enough that how much you pay for something matters when attributing the flavor. It just does. If I paid
No, because if I
20
bought
fuck
you good pizza for free and I was just like, yo, I bought it. Like, you don't even got to worry about it. I bought it. Here,
yeah,
taste this. And then you taste a Little
right.
Caesars, you'd be like, get this nonsense out of here. I'm
No.
never eating this crap. I
Is
want the good
there
stuff.
is there better pizza than Little Caesars on this earth? Absolutely. Is there better pizza that I'll probably have to pass by in order to get to Little Caesars tomorrow? Absolutely. I agree with that. Is there
Yeah.
better
You just want what you
value
want.
in is there better no, I'm just is there better value in the pizza elsewhere versus where you would get it from Little Caesar? I would argue no. There's no place that can give you that value of a decent, large, hot pizza that wasn't cooked and then reheated like it is in fucking New York when you buy a slice. It is cooked fresh and put in a box. And you can ask them how long the certain hot and ready has been in there. And if it's too long for your liking, you can wait till another one comes up, or you can choose to not partake. But usually it's within like a 5 to 10 minute span or whatever of the pizza being in there. And it sits there in the warmer and you come and you buy it, you walk, and it's $5 fucking. Five. There's just no value out there like that. You pay $3 and change for a large fry at McDonald's. That's a fry. That's not even enough to fill you for that one sitting. For the same amount that you would pay for a large fry plus tax, you can get a whole large pizza. There's no value better than that
You
in the
heard it
pizza
here
game.
first,
There's just none.
folks.
Just
Aaron
telling you. Get you
just,
your large Little Caesars pizza, folks. You
yeah,
bet
he's
Ole
shilling
Miss in the
for,
over,
Little Caesars.
and you sit and you enjoy
Mm,
the best value in pizza while you watch the Rebels of Mississippi, of the University of Mississippi, put the beats on Carson Beck,
there you
much
go.
like they did in the regular season last year when Carson Beck was still in Georgia. Um, but yeah, let's finish this up with some dad rules. It's about to be 1 o'clock. Let's get some dad rules in here so we can get you to bed at a reasonable hour so you can wake up in time to get you some Little Caesars.
God. Uh, Dad rule. My dad rule is my son will never eat Little Caesars pizza ever. He just
Well, that's
never.
just a terrible rule. That's fine. I'm gonna make sure that Coleman gets some Little Caesars in his life. That's what a good uncle would do.
I
Yeah,
will
well,
knock that box of pizza out of your
you're not
hand
gonna
so
know.
fast.
You're not gonna know. You're not gonna know. You're not gonna know. I'd be like, "Hey,
I'm
Malik,
flipping that shit.
you're not gonna know. You're not
Yeah,
gonna know. I'm gonna just
all right.
have something like
I'll
Coleman.
smell the
Try it.
struggle on his breath. I'll be like, what what is that?
But like, I'd be like, Coleman, just try this one slice of pepperoni. Tell me how you feel about it.
And you know what's funny?
Okay, now
Like
that slice of pepperoni came attached to this piece of pizza.
if you did like these days, he'd be like, nah, nah, nah. He
Oh,
just shake his head
he's
no.
on that phase now.
He's on that phase. Yeah, yeah, it's
Yeah.
great. It's great.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, who taught you this? Nigga, like what?
Mom. Mom taught
No,
you no.
she didn't either. We both be looking like, yo,
No.
how did you learn this? It's the other kids. It be them other kids, yo.
Oh, school. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my daughter now
Yes.
with the she her thing now is, "What are you doing?" I'm like,
Ooh,
"What?" Like,
yeah,
who you talking to? What am I doing? What are you doing? Don't ask me what I'm doing. What are you doing? This is my
yeah,
house.
yeah.
I do what I want to. Um, nah, okay, so what's your dad rule though? Because not having Little
Uh,
Caesars pizza is like borderline
yeah, yeah, no,
parental abuse.
that's, like, built in. That's just
That's child
that's like
abuse,
a
so
yeah.
we're not gonna support child abuse on this podcast.
Um, oh, man, this is a good one. I'm trying to think. I had some that I was kicking around in my head earlier today, and I can't remember now because now my brain is just full of Little Caesars pizza. Um,
You're welcome.
no,
You're
not
welcome.
good. No.
It's not
Thankfully,
bad
it's only
either.
my brain and not my stomach. Um,
That one hurts.
dad rule. Okay. Uh, I don't have one that I feel super strong about.
Mhm.
But I will say that uh, I'm finally appreciating the little moments, which is nice. Like I think about the fact that it's 2026. We started re-recording last year, not maybe a month from now, like what was it, like February ish. Um, and I've had the opportunity to sort of think back over all the stuff that I was like freaking out about, like over the course of a year, and just realizing now, like, oh, so this just like keeps going, like you
Mhm.
just constant, just like it just changes like small little thing here or there, but like it's just constant. Um, so I'm really appreciating the moments. Like I'm genuinely like he's about to move up to the next class, and I'm just like I'm not ready yet. Like I'm not ready for him to move up to the next class. Like we're so locked into this rhythm of what we've been doing, that it's kind of nice that I'm just like, hey, actually, don't grow up too fast. Like, I need you to just stay in this little range right here, even though I know that's not gonna happen. Um, but yeah, man, like I am happy that I can genuinely say I'm appreciating these little moments, even when he does stuff that I'm just like, dude, we have to leave the house. Why? I need you to stop
Why
running
are you doing
around.
it?
Yeah, like, let's just put the shoes on. Okay, let's put on the jacket now, and it's just like,
Right.
I'm chasing you, in circles for 20
He's
minutes,
like, "Daddy, come
and,
get me."
like,
It's like,
basically, and
"Man."
he's just picking stuff up, I'm like, "Put that down." No, put it down. It's just okay, here. Then when I take it, he starts crying because he wants it back, and I'm
Mhm. Right.
like, but it's like, you gotta love it, you know? You really do gotta love it. So,
It's I
yeah,
mean,
anyway,
it's a
not a
beautiful
real
life.
rule.
We're privileged enough to live that. I mean, that's a rule. The rule is enjoy the moments, and I agree with that. You gotta enjoy the moments. I definitely co-sign on that. For me, my dad rule is kinda similar to that, and then, you have to let kids move at their own pace with stuff. We're still on Operation Potty Train. That's going horribly, so, every time we check in here, I'm still on the same thing. It feels like it's the same situation over and over and over again because it is.
Yeah.
It is. "Oh, well, you potty trained your kid in a week? In a weekend? Congratulations. Do you get an award for that, or you get to shut the fuck up because I didn't, okay? It's taking a
I
while."
also don't believe that that's
And
true. When
then
people say
move
that,
on.
I'm like, "There's absolutely no way you did it that fast." It
Yeah,
sounds
it was
ridiculous.
like from my experience of how difficult it has been to get my daughter to just consistently say, "I have to go potty," and then sit on said potty before she's used it, I don't believe it at all. But I'm sure it has happened. Some kids just learn faster on certain things, and that's fantastic, but my daughter hasn't taken to that quickly, but this is actually more not about the potty training for her, but more about recently, since we've moved her to her big girl bed over the past year,
Mm,
my daughter doesn't have trouble sleeping in her bed. She will sleep in her bed, but she gets up at, like, around the same time every night, somewhere in that 5 to 6:30, 5 a.m. to 6:30 a.m. range, and will waddle her little heavy-footed ass into our room to get in our bed. Always on the wife's side too, by the way. Kinda hurts my feelings a little bit. 'Cause she'll come in the room and my side of the bed obviously is closest to the door. So I'll be like, "Come on," and she'll walk right past my open arms to the other side of the bed. So the left side of the bed to get into the bed. So, stings every night, but it's like, part of you is like, I would like to be able to lay in my marital bed with my wife and not be interrupted by a 2-foot monster, but The other part is, like, there's gonna be times when, like, I'm falling asleep on the, living room couch or in the lazy boy in the living room and waiting for her to get back from the movies or a date or, just hanging out with her friends or whatever it is. And, like, those times will come
Yeah,
where, you're just gonna have to let your kid spread their wings and do
be
their own
independent.
thing. So, like, in the moments
Yeah.
that you get when they want to be around you, when they, wanna be up under your skin, like, it annoys you in the moment, but, like, you you have to understand that these moments are fleeting, and there's gotta come a time when, like, you might be just sitting around, like, a holiday time, like, "Man, I know you can't wait to go and, go on a walk with your cousins and stuff, but, like,
Yeah.
remember when you used to just come crawling into me and your mother's bed at, like, 4 in the morning, and we used
Yeah.
to think it was so annoying, but you were so cute, and we could never say no. We were always supposed to put you back in the bed, and your mom kept getting mad at me because I would never do it, and now look at us. I miss those times."
I'm sure
So,
she'll circle back when she's like 25.
maybe. It's weird though. But, like, I think it's one of those things where it's like, I forget who had that quote, but, like, I wish we knew we were in the good old days while they
Yeah,
were
yeah, yeah.
happening. Um, these are the good old days. These
Mhm.
are, and in each moment going forward is a new thing to appreciate and to love and accept about fatherhood, and that's partially why, we do this every time is because we just love to be dads. We're just so privileged to have, the children that we have, the bright, beautiful young kids that we have, and, um, it's so awesome to see life continue to grow and germinate through these little people that we have helped create and put on this earth.
Trippy,
I
man.
I it's so wild. Yeah, man, like, it's crazy. It's, enough to make a thug cry at this piece, but not today.
Yeah, yeah. The moments are, like you said, they're fleeting. It really does happen quick, and I think our kids are what, like a year apart. So,
Yeah.
um, I mean, it is funny having heard other people say something last year, and now I'm like starting to experience
'Cause
it, and it's like, oh,
Coleman's
like
what,
yeah,
June, right?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, June birthday. Yeah, Ari is
yeah.
in August,
So
so yeah, he'll be
yeah, so I mean, it's cool, man. Like I still love it. I still appreciate it. I realize now, which I guess is can be my second rule, which is um I just try to spend as much time like the you realize. I mean, I felt this almost immediately, but even more so. Like I feel like every day it gets deeper. Like the priority is just like nobody could like obviously you have your responsibilities and it's like okay I got work, I got this, I got that, but like I'm at the point now where I'm just like actually I'd probably just rather just hang out with my family.
That's
Like
literally the
I'd
decision we
rather
made. It's funny that it's about New Year around New Year's. That's the decision that we made. Like, normally, I would be at my old GM from the Snellville location of Relapse where I used to work at. He had a New Year's party like he has every year. Normally, that's where we would be, bringing in the new year. My mom
hmm
offered to babysit and all of that, and then, Jasmine was just like, it kinda something's in my spirit is telling me to just, like, be home with the family, and, she even gave me an out, she's like, "Look, if you wanna go, you can." And I was like, "Nah, I think you're right." I'm totally at peace with just being home with the family. We weren't sitting there waiting for the ball drop and all that. I was literally we sat in our bed and watched Stranger Things while our
mm,
kid sat in between us with her tablet, locked in on Tenny and Baby Shark. It was beautiful. We had it was a great time. I didn't feel like I really missed out on
yeah,
anything.
yeah. Old niggas unite.
All niggas, bro. That's what it is. We ain't quite 40 yet, bro. Like, this is what we gotta look forward to at 40. It's like, I'm alright with it.
Yeah,
Middle-aged dads of young kids, the way that it goes is crazy. It's crazy, but I'm
it's a
I'm just
trip.
I look forward to every mile yeah, I look forward to every milestone, man, like first play dates. Like that's the part that I really get reticent about. I don't really get nervous about like milestones for her. It's like I know she's gonna be great, and I'm gonna be super excited about that. It's really like the first time I have to like be cool with a parent that I think is a douchebag because my kid's best friends
Mm,
with their kid. Like how do I navigate? Because I always wear how I feel on my face. I'm a big
yeah.
guy. So it's like even more noticeable on me. So it's like that's gonna be an interesting
Yeah, I don't
whole.
think you need to be cool with the other parents. I think you just need to be, like, cordial. It's like, we're
I
not
mean,
friends. Yeah.
I got to get better with names. I'm like, it's like it was funny for a while. Now it's like it's becoming a problem in my life that I don't know that I'm like really bad with names. So I gotta get better at.
Yeah, I don't even really try. I just speak to
That's
people
probably my
directly
problem.
without
Is
referencing
I
their
don't try.
name. Yeah.
I'm like, hey, you, what's up?
Yeah, I
I
just try to I
recognize that
try to
people.
initiate eye contact, and then we're off to the races. Yeah.
Mhm. I just pray that you don't ask me to like introduce you to somebody else. I try and avoid that situation because then it means I have to know your name, and I'm like,
No, I
I
just be
want
like,
you
"Yo,
to do it.
you know,
Yo,
and then they just sort of say it themselves.
yeah. Mhm.
"Have you guys met?" That's what you do. You be like, "Oh, have you guys met?" Like, "No, I haven't." And then they just do it themselves, and then you're good
Just
to
kind
go.
of like fade to the back. I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
this,
yeah,
yeah, this is, and you just like leave the awkward silence for them to fill it. It's like the 80-20
yeah,
rule with kissing, except for with like introducing names. But
yeah.
like,
You
please
just,
fill in this blank and don't make me look like an asshole. And your turn.
yeah. I believe
You
it's
know
the
your
ninety
name.
ten
What is it?
rule. Yeah.
It is 90-10. You're right. It's 90-20. It's 90-10.
Shout out to Hitch.
Yeah. I respect it, man. Yeah, it's felt good. Just felt good, man. First pot of the new year's, first time in like a month or whatever that we get on it. We told life be life. Life be life. And we try and give it to you guys every week when we can. But sometimes it's not gonna happen. It's just the reality of the situation. But we can guarantee that we won't be on another 4 or 5 year hiatus. That's what we can promise you guys. We're
Yes,
gonna
can
keep giving we
guarantee.
can keep giving it back to you guys as much as we can. It's gonna be a lot more often if the Raiders win, I should say when the Raiders piss me off with this first overall pick. I promise you that. Um,
Hey, but
but for
basketball
now, it's
season,
basketball season.
yeah, basketball season.
It's
Got
basketball
Duke, you
season right
got
now.
Philly. Yeah, man. Everything's great. Everything's coming up Millhouse.
I got the rookie of the year, got the MVP on my team. You know what I'm saying? It's a beautiful
Okay.
thing.
All right.
It's a
You,
beautiful thing.
we'll let you have it. Yep.
You're
Just
gonna let
gotta
me have
nod and
shit.
smile.
We came to MSG and took that shit. You saw firsthand who
Oh,
should be rookie of the year. Took
okay.
that
Cool, cool,
shit.
cool. Yeah,
Yeah, you showed
yeah,
it to them niggas in Dallas too. He'll let them niggas know
yeah,
I'm top
yeah.
dog
You
out
did.
here.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
I'm focused on the playoffs, so
that's
it's
great.
kind
You
of.
won't be there, so
Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. last time,
then
last
we
time
shall
y'all were
know.
there, what happened?
I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, I didn't think you would.
So it is what it is. Well, I mean, it helps when you cheat, foul our best player,
You
and
mean
then
like
don't get called for a foul on an
you
inbounds.
mean like when
Yeah,
you take a player's legs out while they're trying to go up for a rebound?
yeah. So I mean, never happened, but uh, you know, it's a rough game. Just going for the
It
ball.
is. It is.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
that's cool.
yeah.
I mean, we'll see. Like you said, we're
We
not even
will.
halfway through the season yet,
We're not.
so
And you're
we'll.
already taking victory laps. Settle down.
It's not a victory lap. I'm just saying we have the rookie of the year and the MVP. Things could change. Votes don't get going until like the end of April or mid-April, whenever the fuck they go in. But you
Settle
know,
down is my point.
I don't want to. I don't have to settle down. I don't have to settle for anything. Philly,
Okay, jump out the window then.
you done good. I was out the window early with VJ Max. I was all in very early on. Didn't take me very
I
long
still
at
don't know
all.
how I feel about this nickname. Like I don't hate it, but I feel
I
like
love
there's
it.
something else out there.
Maybe, but as a guy who did a lot of his back to school shopping at TJ Maxx, I do greatly appreciate VJ Max as like a little
I
pun
love
on
TJ
that. So
Maxx.
it's kind of a
Yeah.
what?
I said I love TJ Maxx. It's great.
Oh, you love I thought you were saying you don't know TJ Maxx. I was like,
No, no,
"No
no.
way."
I love TJ Maxx.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. It's a great store.
I don't, I just feel like something else organically will come. We don't have to steal the name of a great store. That's all I'm saying.
Fine.
That's all I'm saying.
Fine.
Let it
You
happen.
know, it's just a lot of negative energy on this side of the camera. Okay.
Okay.
It's
All
like
right. I thought that was me being positive.
as soon as I'd mentioned Little Caesars, like the jealousy started emanating from that side of
Yeah,
the
no, I'm
camera.
real
And I just want you to
real
know that
jealous of Little Caesars. Yeah.
you are jealous that I'm gonna be
Yes.
eating Little Caesars tomorrow. I know that you are.
Yeah. I
And
wish it
it's
was
okay. I
me.
want you to know that I am okay with you being jealous of me.
And I'm
I forgive
happy
you.
that you're happy.
I don't think you are. I don't think you
I
are.
am.
Spoiler
I'm
alert.
happy that you're happy.
Uh,
Yeah.
I don't believe it. That's okay. That's fine. It's great. I'm gonna send you a picture of my pizza, and you're gonna be really fucking jealous. You'll be like, "Ugh, I
Yeah.
gotta go get one of these reheated
Make sure to
slices from the
separate
fucking
the
glass."
pizza from the cardboard because it's hard to tell a difference if you take the picture with the two of them right, like on top. You know what I mean? Because you can't really.
It's very negative energy. It's just very negative. It's such a good the value's there.
Come on,
I
quick.
stand behind it. The value's
Yeah.
there.
Okay.
Whatever, man. Yeah, man. As always, man, we appreciate everybody that rocks with us. We appreciate everybody's patience, on the brief hiatuses between episodes here and there. We try
Yeah.
and get it to you guys more
Niggas need
consistent here.
vacations, man. We need to take the
Yeah.
holidays. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Take some holidays. It's gonna get dicey here and there with schedules getting busier and slower and things like that. As certain holidays approach, and then obviously wife's birthday coming up, my birthday coming up, we got Mother's Day, Father's Day, all that other beautiful stuff. But we will be with you guys through it all, trying to talk you guys through it. But again, thank you guys for rocking with us. Always be sure to eat a hot and ready pizza at Little Caesars Pizza. If you've never had the bacon wrap pizza, if you are like my good friend Malik, my brother Malik,
Mhm.
do yourself a favor and get yourself a bacon wrap Little Caesars pizza before you rush to judgment. Don't be like Malik.
Don't be
Be
like
on the
me.
right side of history for this. Be on
Yeah.
the right side of history.
Yeah.
We love you guys, man. It's been another lovely episode of the No Rules Podcast.
Peace.